Chapter 103. When Zhou Shihu, and the Yamen runner got up, someone came to serve them. After a while, the Yamen runner was led to another place to eat. Zhou Shihu and his nephew were invited to a separate dining room. Everything had been set up. The bowl of porridge was still steaming. It was obvious that it had just been served. There were more than a dozen small salted vegetables. Beside them were deep-fried dough sticks, steamed buns, and steamed buns. In addition to the two types of porridge, there was also soy milk and tofu pudding. Zhou Qiong originally thought that he would have to drink since morning. He didn't expect that there would be some ordinary food prepared. The small salted vegetables were just meat and vegetables. There was no other meaning to it. This time, the old masters of the Zhang and Wang families didn't come out. Only Father Zhang came to accompany them. There were only 3 people in the dining room. Looking at the food on the table in front of him, Zhou Qiong felt that there were too many types. He said, "Brother Yongcheng, there are so many things that I don't know which to choose. Why don't we take some away and let the servants eat at noon? By then, the servants will be hungry." Father Zhang didn't expect Zhou Qiong to ask such a question. He smiled and replied, "Brother Miaran, you don't have to worry about this. Everyone in the courtyard, except for those who are working, is eating. At noon, these things have to be fried in oil. Otherwise, the servants won't eat them." Yesterday, Father Zhang called Zhou Qiong Lord. After being rejected by Zhou Qiong, he started calling him by his courtesy name. Zhou Qiong was stunned when he heard this. He picked up a steamed bun and put it in front of his mouth. He said, "Does Zhang Jie Zhuangzi take care of the servants' breakfast? Brother Miaran has never been here before. Naturally, you don't know the situation here. Not to mention Zhang Jie Zhuangzi, even the Wang family Zhuangzi is the same. In addition to 3 meals a day, the night watch also has supper," Father Zhang said to Zhou Qiong. "Why do they do this? They eat a lot of food every day, right?" Zhou Qiong didn't even have this in his own residence. The servants only had 2 meals a day. When he came to Zhuangzi, he actually heard such an unbelievable thing. "Brother Miaran, you don't believe me. Why don't you let little Tiger take a look?" Father Zhang said to Zhou Qiong. In fact, he wanted Zhou Shihu to go check out. Zhou Shihu felt that this was not good. Seeing his uncle nod, he could only get up and leave. He went to the courtyard to take a look. Before he left, he glanced at the food on the table. He knew that the taste of Zhang Jie Zhuangzi's side dishes was definitely better than the ones outside. After Zhou Shihu left, Zhou Qiong saw that only he and Father Zhang were left in the hall. Only then did he say, "Brother Yongcheng, what are your plans this time?" "I can't say what I plan to do, but there's something I need to trouble Brother Miaran with. Zhuangzi and Zhuangzi are running 2 businesses together, and they will continue to run them in the future. However, when it comes to splitting the profits, Zhuangzi has taken too much of the advantage, especially when it comes to the white sugar. Zhuangzi has already recouped its capital, so why don't we change it to 10%? Father Zhang purposely sent Zhou Shihu away so that he could discuss matters with Zhou Qiong. When Zhou Qiong asked about it, the first thing he mentioned was the white sugar. "Brother Yongcheng, I can't make the decision on this matter. When the time comes, Zhuangzi will send someone to discuss with Xiaohu. Whether Xiaohu thinks it's feasible or not, it's up to him to decide." Zhou Qiong didn't care about this matter. A little more money wouldn't affect his position. Father Zhang saw that there was no need to worry about this matter. So he said, "There's one more thing. Zhang Wang and Gu Sen have jointly built a restaurant in Zhuangzi. This place is remote. When the time comes, I hope Brother Miaran can help us. Brother Miaran can rest assured that the restaurant's dishes won't damage Brother Miaran's reputation." "Oh, so that's how it is. Okay, I've already seen that place when I came. It seems pretty good. When the time comes, I'll definitely bring someone over." Zhou Qiong didn't care about this matter. When the time comes, he'll just find an excuse to come over. It wasn't the first time he'd done something like this. This matter could be considered to have been discussed properly. There was only one last thing left. Father Zhang didn't know what to say. According to him, it was to send out the grain for peace of mind. However, according to his wife, not only did they have to send it out, they also had to sell it. When the time comes, they would get the same amount of money from selling it. They couldn't lose money. After hesitating for a moment, he said, "There's one more thing. There's a drought in Tang Mountains and Hunan. Zhangjiazhuangzi still has surplus grain. I wonder if they can send it over there to solve the urgent situation. Here in Zhuangzi, Zhang Wang and Zhuangzi also want to buy a mountain. It's more than 1,000 mu, and it costs 1,500 taels of silver. When the time comes, County Magistrate Chung can use this money to suppress the price." When the third thing was mentioned, Zhou Qiong pondered deeply. At this time, he finally understood why County Magistrate Chung told him to delay the investigation until after the summer. It turned out that Zhangjiazhuangzi had this idea. At the end of summer, there would be a shortage of grain. As long as Zhangjiazhuangzi sold the grain at a fair price, they would get a lot of benefits. It seemed that the Zhang family wanted to give it away for free. He also knew that the grain had been bought by Zhang Wang and Zhang Wang since last year. It was the autumn harvest season, and the two families had spent almost all of their savings. After adding in the money they earned from some transactions later, the amount of grain was not a lot, but it was not a small amount either. In total, they had obtained nearly 10,000 don of grain. In total, there were 800,000 jin of grain. It was impossible to solve the food problem of so many people with this amount of grain. However, if it could solve the food problem of tens of thousands of people for a few months without any problem, it would be a big contribution. Seeing that Zhou Qiong was thinking about something, Father Zhang did not disturb him. He put his chopsticks on the chopstick holder and waited there. After a while, Zhou Qiong finally said, "I heard that you have 800,000 jin of grain. Are you going to give it all away directly?" Well, Father Zhang did not expect Zhou Qiong to know so much. It was indeed as Zhou Qiong said. His family had been thinking of ways to store grain, and they did have this much now. However, this grain could not be given away for free. He could only say, "My family's intention is to give away half of the grain and leave the other half for others to help earn back the capital. I wonder what the imperial court will reward us for doing this." Hearing this, Zhou Qiong understood. It turned out that Zhangjiazhuangzi wanted to sell the other half at a high price and earn back the money they gave away. If they really did this, it would not be as simple as just earning back the money, but at least they would gain some profit. Zhou Qiong was not surprised at all. It did not matter who sold the grain. There were more big grain merchants who wanted to make money from disasters. Since Zhangjiazhuangzi said this, it meant that he did not treat Zhou Qiong as an outsider. After thinking for a while, Zhou Qiong said, "If you can really take out so much grain, you have to let County Magistrate Chung submit a report first. I will also submit a report on my side. Not to mention keeping the grain, it is not impossible to go one step further. However, when you sell the grain, you have to find someone reliable. Don't make any mistakes. I just don't know who is handling the disaster this time. Otherwise, they can help even more." Father Zhang listened to Zhou Qiong's words and stared straight at the small dishes on the table. If someone looked closely, they would find that his pupils were out of focus. He was in a trance. In this state, he did not even need to adjust to look at a three-dimensional picture. He did not know what to say now. To be precise, he did not know if he should follow his wife's words or that immortal son's words. All of Zhou Qiong's reactions were predicted correctly. Even the content of his words was predicted. These were all what his wife told him. However, he knew that only his son and daughter-in-law had this kind of ability. From the breakfast arrangement until now, there was no difference at all. Father Zhang suddenly felt that Zhou Qiong was a little pitiful. After saying so much, everything was under the control of his son and daughter-in-law. They were really monsters, no immortals. "Brother Yongcheng, what's wrong? Did something bad happen again?" Zhou Qiong saw that Father Zhang was in a trance and raised his voice to ask. "No, it's nothing. This time, it might not only be a drought, but also a plague of locusts. Zhangjiazhuangzi has prepared close to 10,000 chickens and ducks. When the time comes, you can go over and help. The people sent by the higher-ups are not ordinary people. I heard that Prime Minister Yao has always been good at handling government affairs. Perhaps the Prime Minister will personally take care of it. Father Zhang had memorized all these words. No matter how he thought about it, he could not think of a Prime Minister who would personally take care of these matters. However, these words came from his wife, so he had to believe them. Plague of locusts? Why is there a plague of locusts again? Brother Yongcheng, this is not something to be worried about. The locusts are the emperor. If there really is a plague of locusts, then it is a sign from the heavens. You raised so many chickens and ducks in Zhuangzi. Could it be that you already planned for this? As Zhou Qiong was speaking, he suddenly remembered that Zhangjie Zhuangzi had raised many chickens and ducks since last year. They also made a pond and dug a well. Could it be that the experts in Zhuangzi had already thought of this? Did they arrange it in advance? The more Zhou Qiong thought about it, the more fearful he felt. Not only was the expert powerful, but he was also afraid of the plague of locusts. If this was true, then this year's losses would not be enough. The east of Tang Mountains and Hunan would be affected. When that time came, not to mention several times the price of the grain, it would not be enough. Brother Yongcheng, where did you hear all this from? Zhou Qiong had to ask. I didn't hear from anyone. It's all blind guesses. Why do you ask? Father Zhang tried his best to control himself and said with a smile, Oh, it's nothing. I was just casually asking. Brother Yongcheng, today's breakfast is very good. Seeing that Father Zhang was unwilling to talk about the expert behind this, Zhou Qiong could only suppress his guesses and pick up a piece of shallot to mix with tofu. Brother Miaran is too polite. It's nothing good, just ordinary food. Xiao Hu should be back soon, right? Brother Miaran, eat first. It will be cold soon. Father Zhang picked up a fried red shrimp and stuffed it into his mouth. He actually did not like to eat shrimp, especially this kind of shrimp that had to be eaten even with the shell. However, Madam would prepare some for him every day. If he did not eat it, then Madam would go to his parents and complain. He did not know why his parents doted on Xiao Er so much. If Xiao Er complained, he was guaranteed to be scolded. He did not even dare to throw a tantrum. Xiao Er gave birth to a big fat boy who was like a demon or an immortal. Chapter 104. Zhou Qiong and Father Zhang finished their discussion. Just as they were about to chat, Zhou Shihu hurried back. Just as he was about to speak, he saw Father Zhang sitting at the side. Only then did he remember that he was waiting in someone else's house. He could only swallow his words and obediently sit beside his uncle. He picked up his chopsticks and began to eat. Fortunately, the food was not cold. After the conversation just now, Zhou Qiong was no longer so distant. He asked his nephew, Xiao Hu, did you see that everyone in the Zhang family's courtyard is eating? Yes, wait. Zhou Shihu ate quickly. He quickly drank a mouthful of soy milk and swallowed the food before saying, I saw it all. Except for those who had something to do in the morning, everyone is eating there. Only a few small salted vegetables are less than here. As for the rest, there is not a single one missing. They can eat whatever they want. I saw a strong man eating a big steamed bun in 3 mouthfuls. In a short while, he actually ate 4 steamed buns. He wasn't afraid of choking. Uncle Zhang, what you did is really better than other places. Your nephew will say something disrespectful. If you do this, the people in the courtyard will only remember you. Not to mention the people from the government. Even if the emperor himself comes, the people in the courtyard will protect you. Xiao Hu, what are you talking about? Isn't your Uncle Zhang helping the emperor treat the people in the courtyard better? How did it become like a private army? Zhou Qiong frowned and lectured his nephew. He was also lamenting in his heart. Zhangjia Zhuangzi actually gave the servants breakfast. Those who were on night watch also had to eat supper. This was using money to pave the way. One could imagine the loyalty of the people in the courtyard. For meals, they were just like that, in the manor. Here, they were prepared for the servants. No wonder Xiao Ju led him to another place. He was afraid that he would hurt the young master and wife. At that time, he did not do anything that would hurt the two children. Otherwise, Xiaoju and Pomegranate beside him would have pounced on him and risked their lives. It was no wonder that the people in Zhuangzi were full of envy when they talked about the Zhang family and the Wang family. The Zhang family and the Wang family actually managed the entire Zhuangzi like an iron plate. Why did the two children dare to play outside with a maid accompanying them? All they had to do was call out, and the farmers of the Zhang family and Wang family would rush over upon hearing the sound. Having money in one's own family was not a matter of ability. Being able to get the people around them to take care of them was a matter of ability. Uncle, I wonder how you slept last night. I noticed that there were people walking back and forth in the middle of the night. When I woke up, I noticed that many of the rooms were still lit. Zhou Shihu was indeed frightened. He was frightened by Zhangjia Zhuangzi's way of doing things. He didn't care that the master of the Zhangjia Zhuangzi was beside him as he continued to talk to his uncle. There's such a thing? Brother Yongcheng, how did you arrange this courtyard? Could it be that they are doing this just for us? Zhou Shihu was also surprised. He felt that this was not a Zhuangzi, but a place similar to the imperial palace. Although he had never been there at night, he had heard that there were always people patrolling the imperial palace at night. Since Zhou Shihu asked, Father Zhang didn't want to lie. Therefore, he said, starting from last autumn, the Wang family also followed suit in Zhuangzi. They hired a few more people and didn't spend too much money. With someone walking back and forth at night, the people in the courtyard will be more at ease. There's no need to worry. It's just some lamp oil, so the people in the courtyard will sleep soundly. When they wake up early in the morning, it will be better than usual. It's worth it. We don't care about such a small amount of money, especially the maids. Usually, they don't dare to wake up at night. Now that there are always people around, there will be less trouble. Servants are also people. Okay, when I go back, I will do the same. No wonder your Zhuangzi feels different from other places. All the servants are working hard. Brother Yongcheng, this is all your wife's idea, right? Zhou Shihu was indeed touched. When he thought of how serious the servants were when they were working, he thought that the courtyard was strict. Now he understood that it was because they were good to the servants. It seemed simple, but in fact it was not easy. What else could Father Zhang say? He couldn't betray his own child. He nodded, admitting to this matter. The money was earned by his son and daughter-in-law. It was not under his control at all. He had been learning things all day. The people in the courtyard were more respectful to his son and daughter-in-law than to him. Seeing that Father Zhang admitted to it, the three of them began to eat again. Zhou Shihu drank a bowl of soy milk and moved the slightly cold tofu pudding in front of him. Then he looked at the mantus and steamed buns that he couldn't finish and asked, Uncle Zhang, are we really going to fry these leftovers for the servants to eat? Won't it be fine to heat them up? Of course it's fine to heat them up. Many people don't even need to heat them up. However, there are usually a lot of things to do in the afternoon. In addition to the work in the morning, the servants are tired and need to take care of themselves. Fry them in oil. One has a lot of oil, and the other has a good taste, so they can eat more. Let them eat more, let them recuperate, and do more work. It's easy to tire them out and then buy more people, but it's hard to guarantee their loyalty. These people in the courtyard, if the master tells them some secret things, even if you catch them and skin them alive, they won't reveal the secret. So what if you treat them a little better? Father Zhang had deep feelings about this matter. Sometimes, when he met Cherries, Pomegranate, Xiaohong, Huzi, and Erniu, and wanted to ask how his son was, these people didn't say a word. They would be whipped to death, especially Erniu, who had served by his side in the past. When asked anxiously, he would say, Master, even if you beat me to death, I won't say a word. The young master has ordered me to keep my mouth shut. At that time, Father Zhang was jealous that his son could control the servants like this. According to Madame, when she asked Erniu, Erniu also answered in the same way. Such a clever person dared to resist the master's questioning. Father Zhang was just a servant who took care of the surroundings. He answered whatever Madame asked. There was no comparison. Of course, Father Zhang didn't know that there was a kind of power called faith. Those who followed Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had long regarded them as gods. Even if Wang Wan made a bomb, they would carry it with them and rush into the enemy to detonate it. Zhou Qiong didn't know that Father Zhang would have so many ideas in such a short time. Seeing that the porridge was getting cold, he quickly drank 2 mouthfuls. Just as he was about to speak, suddenly there was a sound of disorderly footsteps outside. "Brother Yongcheng, this is?" Zhou Qiong asked in confusion. Logically speaking, since the servants in the courtyard were so well behaved, they shouldn't be so flustered. Father Zhang also didn't know what happened. He turned his head to look at the door, waiting for someone to come and explain. After a while, a person appeared at the door and said to him, "Master, just a quarter of an hour ago, Zhang Qing's cow accidentally rolled down from the mountain. Zhang Qing's 7-year-old child also fell down. The courtyard has already sent 2 doctors. It is estimated that they will arrive in a quarter of an hour. There are other people who will also go to help." "Got it. Quickly go and settle it. Tell people to bring all the necessary things. Don't delay." When Father Zhang heard this, he also became anxious. After all, it was a human life. It didn't matter if the cow died. If they couldn't beat it, they just had to report it to the government. But if something happened to the child, it would be difficult to handle. If he judged others, he didn't even dare to think about it if his son fell down. The servant responded and left. Zhou Qiong was curious again. "Brother Yongcheng, where did that person fall down? Where else could it be? There is only one place on Zhuangzi that is dangerous. In a while, I had people dig that place flat. It rained, and a lot of mud and stones slid down the mountain, making that place steep. If I had known that this would happen, I would have had people flatten it. It's all because of the busy spring season." Father Zhang's face didn't look good. He suppressed his anxiety and said, "Oh, then how far is that place from here?" Zhou Qiong asked again. "Oh, I know why Brother Miaran wants to know. The people there found it too late. Otherwise, they would have sent people out long ago. There are 2 doctors on Zhuangzi. One is in charge of the animals, and the other is in charge of the people. They will go out when there is an illness. Brother Miaran, when you came, you must have seen some shelves built on Zhuangzi, right?" "Yes, I saw it. Is it related to this?" "The shelves are connected to some ropes made of fine silk. Each of the Zhang family and the Wang family has 2 ropes. One is a bell, and the other is connected to the bamboo tubes on both sides. When there is an emergency, they use those ropes to call for help. Usually, in less than 10 breaths, they will know and immediately respond." When Father Zhang mentioned those things, he raised his head. A proud expression appeared on his face. He was qualified to be like this. Last time, Zhang Xiaoshu's family only took a quarter of an hour from the time the accident happened to them. Who could compare with this speed? Zhou Qiong was also dumbfounded. He did see those shelves, but he didn't expect that they were built by the main family on Zhuangzi for the villagers to call for help. When something happened on Zhuangzi, the people here were sent out immediately. His manner was even worse than Zhuangzi's. If something happened on Zhuangzi, it would take an hour for the people farther away to send the news. "Brother Yongcheng, can you take us to have a look?" The more Zhou Qiong thought about it, the more incredulous he felt. He couldn't hold back his thoughts and suggested, "Okay, then let's go and have a look. I wonder how Zhang Qing's child is doing? Don't let anything happen to him. He is a treasure in his family." Father Zhang was no longer in the mood to eat. He agreed, got up, and walked outside. Zhou Shihu and his nephew also put down their chopsticks and followed behind Father Zhang. They wanted to see if this matter was true or not. Seeing was believing. When the 3 of them arrived at the place by car, there was a child crying there. There was also an adult scolding the child for being careless. If the child wasn't injured, the adult would have gone over and hit him. Chapter 105. Why didn't you fall to your death at the bottom of the mountain? If you died, I wouldn't have to worry about you. Other children all know that you can't go there. Only you have the ability to ride a cow there. You broke your arm, right? You deserve it. Why didn't you break your neck too? That way, your mother and I won't have to worry about you in the future." The adults scolded the child who was raising his arm to let the doctor from the main house treat him. The child seemed to be frightened and didn't move at all. He opened his eyes wide and didn't cry like other children. When the doctor set his bones, he only frowned and there were scars on his face. "Zhang Qing, what are you doing? Your child fell and you don't hurry up and fix it. Why are you scolding him?" Father Zhang couldn't stand it anymore and scolded him with a sullen face. Father Zhang usually didn't care about these things. Today, he was still so strict, scaring the surrounding people. Zhang Qing was so scared that he trembled. Why did the master of the main house come today? "Master, I'm not scolding him. It's all because he doesn't have the guts." Other children would go to other places when they're herding cows. But this prodigal child just had to go to that place that was washed away by the water. It's more than 2 zhang high, and the cow would fall to its death. He's lucky and only broke an arm. If I don't scold him properly, he won't dare to go to that place in the future. "Master, don't worry. The child is my own, and I will definitely take good care of him. Just now, when the people from the main house came, I asked my daughter-in-law to cook the bone soup. According to the main house's recipe, it's to cook the bones." Zhang Qing was afraid of the master of the house, so he started to explain. As he spoke, he noticed that there were 2 people he didn't know standing beside the master, so he immediately changed his words. As for the remaining 2 ingredients, the fish liver and kelp, he didn't want to tell anyone. The surrounding people didn't correct him. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Why should the master let outsiders know what he told them? Father Zhang saw Zhou Shihu and his nephew's questioning expression and said, "Actually, by directly cooking the bones, the human body doesn't use much of it. If you add some other things, it will use more of it. The farmers are all petty and don't want to tell others. It's fine, just add some fish liver and kelp. That way, not only can it use more of the things in the bones, it can also prevent the big neck disease." Oh, is there such a thing? Zhou Qiong did not expect that drinking bone soup would be so particular. The people on Zhangji Zhuangzi were too hateful. They had such a good recipe, but they did not say it out loud. "Of course, I added these things into the fried noodles for Little Tiger. It's more delicious and fragrant, and it's also good for the body," Mr. Zhang continued. So that's how it is. No wonder big brother and sister-in-law are so much better than before. Yongcheng, you really keep a tight lid on Zhuangzi's secret. That's good too. I'm envious of you. Zhou Qiong understood immediately. Even though it was just 2 more things, they were very useful. "The cow is dead." Mr. Zhang gave Zhou Qiong, "You know what's going on" expression. Then asked Zhang Qing. Yes, he fell to his death. Zhang Qing nodded and replied, "If he's dead, bring him back to the main family. Where's the housekeeper?" Mr. Zhang glanced at the surrounding crowd. "Master, I'm here. I'll send someone to report to the government later." According to the new rules of the main family, Zhang Qing's child is not yet 15 years old, so he's considered underage. This time, his arm was broken. The main family will take out 20 gene of bones and other things to help the child recover. All the medical fees will be paid by the main family. Steward Zhang also came. He stood out from the crowd and said to Mr. Zhang. Mr. Zhang nodded and looked at the child again. Send 1 gene of fried noodles here. Let the child eat it and get better soon." "Yes, master," the housekeeper answered, indicating that he had remembered it. "Brother Yongcheng, are you going to bear all the losses by yourself?" Zhou Qiong was puzzled. Why did the main family take care of the cow that fell to its death? He also took care of the medical fees, plus the bones and other things. How could it be reasonable for the farmer to fall to his death? Now that everything was settled and the child was fine, Father Zhang was relieved. He smiled at Zhou Qiong and said, "He's such a young child, yet he doesn't know much. How old is he? It must be because other people don't herd cows there, and the grass there is better. That's why he's herding the cows there." If he wanted to complain, he could only blame the master's family for not flattening that area earlier. He could have knocked down the area that was damaged by the water and made a gentle slope. Then, how could the child have broken his arm? Normally, you don't even dare to kill a cow. Now, you have beef to eat. Brother Miaron, you may not know, but Xiao Bao and Cuckoo love to eat beef the most. Especially the tendons. I used a special method to make them. When I bite it, I don't feel it's hard at all. It's soft and fragrant. I'll peel off the cowhide and use it to make small jackets for them in winter. Let's go back. Zhou Qiong was deeply moved by Father Zhang's nonchalant attitude when he said yes. He could not blame the other party for setting up the seedling protection team. When they first met him, the master was in charge of everything. The only thing the farmer needed to do was to listen to the master's arrangements. He did not expect that the farm would have such a rule. It was very difficult to deal with the main family in this place. It was no different from a dream to bribe a farmer. From the time of the incident to the treatment, it was so far away. The main family took all the responsibility and even gave the bones to the child. It was easy to cross the river, but difficult to deal with Zhangjia Zhuangzi. After the matter was resolved, the surrounding farmers began to disperse. Some people even came over to comfort Zhang Qing. Zhang Qing didn't say any words of gratitude. When everyone left, he hugged his son and said with heartache, "Don't wander around in the future. I heard that there will be a school this year. I'll send you there and learn well. When you grow up, you have to help the main family. Don't do anything that will let the main family down. Otherwise, if I find out, I'll strangle you to death and pretend that I don't have a son like you. Dad, I know. It's a pity that the cow is gone. Dad, when the bones are sent here, let Mom eat them. Mom may give me a younger brother or sister again. Let them grow strong." The child touched the part of his arm that was already in a plaster cast and said to his father, it was the first time he used this thing. He said that it was made by the main family. It was better to break a part than to just stick it out. Zhang Qing held his son in his arms and said, "It doesn't matter if it's a younger brother or sister. When you're born, the main family will give you things and take care of you. When you go to school, don't come home if you can't learn." "Dad, I got it. I'll definitely study hard and help Master do big things. It'll be even better when I become an official. At that time, I'll see who dares to find fault with Master," the child said with a serious face. Father Zhang brought Zhou Qiong over to take a look and returned to the courtyard. It seemed that he was preparing to send Zhou Qiong and the others away. Zhou Qiong was anxious. He still wanted to ask for some advice. If he left like this, it would be difficult to find another opportunity. Therefore, he said to Father Zhang, "Brother Yongcheng, when it's time for the imperial examination, don't worry. I'll definitely find a good person for you. Who does Brother Yongcheng think is suitable?" "This. I don't know. I hope Brother Miao Ran can give me a few pointers." Father Zhang wanted to take the imperial examination so that he could bring glory to his family. He didn't know much about this kind of thing, so he could only ask others. Brother Yongcheng is joking. How can I not know? If Brother Yongcheng really doesn't know, you can ask others. When the time comes, they can help me ask who the current wind and cloud belongs to. Zhou Qiong naturally didn't believe Father Zhang's words. He thought to himself, "You have 2 experts in your family. How can I not tell you such a small thing?" Father Zhang looked at Zhou Qiong in a daze for a few breaths of time before saying, "Since Brother Miao Ren asked, let me think of a way." In truth, he didn't know what to do. Madam didn't tell him this kind of thing, so his face revealed an anxious expression. At this time, Erniu, who shouldn't be here, suddenly entered the hall. "Master, this little one has an important matter." Erniu looked at the 3 people in the hall and said to the master. No matter how stupid Father Zhang was, he knew that Erniu's words couldn't be said to others. He put down the teacup and looked at Erniu. At this time, Erniu was clever. He walked to the master's side and whispered a few words. Then he smiled at Zhou Qiong and Zhou Shihu and turned to leave. After Erniu left for a while, Father Zhang was still in a daze. It wasn't until a servant came to pour tea that he picked up the cup and took a sip. He said to Zhou Qiong, "Brother Miao Ran, you must remember the matters of the previous dynasty. You must not associate with women. It's better to stay away from anything related to women. Not only the princess, but also the other ministers. Otherwise, it won't be a good sign. Brother Yongcheng, are you talking about being under one person? Zhou Qiong wasn't stupid. When he heard this, he connected the dots and understood what it meant. He quickly asked, I don't know what Brother Miao Ran is talking about. Anyway, it's just a sentence. Whether we listen or not is not up to us. Father Zhang's words didn't mean to admit anything. This was also part of what Erniu said when he came over. It felt a little unfathomable. In fact, even he didn't know what it was. He just said it according to what he said. When Zhou Qiong heard these words, he thought a lot. He summed up what Father Zhang said and found that he couldn't rely on the people he wanted to rely on now. All of this was because of a servant's whisper. Others might think that the servant came over to say something, but Zhou Qiong thought that the two masters didn't want to see him in a difficult position, so they helped him. The more he thought about it, the more scared he felt. What a powerful person. He just asked, and the other side knew what he was asking and sent someone to inform him in advance. No wonder County Magistrate Chung always wanted to be the disciple of this person. With such a person behind the scenes, it really saved a lot of trouble. However, just this sentence only told him to stay away from the person, but not to get close to the person. This won't do. If he didn't ask clearly, wouldn't he waste his efforts if he didn't do well in the future? Chapter 106. Well, I don't know if Brother Yongcheng knows more. Oh, I don't know. It's just a guess. Just a guess. At this moment, Zhou Qiong had already confirmed that there was indeed an expert in the Zhang family's farmstead. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the two farmsteads to be in such a state. However, that expert did not seem to be willing to meet with them. He only sent a servant over to inform them. In order to obtain more information, he could only continue to speak to Father Zhang, hoping to find out what the imperial court was doing through him. If it wasn't for the fact that he had come here with this intention and had seen many unbelievable things, he definitely wouldn't have believed it so easily. Just as he asked, the master of the Zhang family happened to send someone to tell the master of the Zhang family what he wanted to know. This was too much of a coincidence. Zhou Qiong would rather believe that it was arranged deliberately than think that it was a coincidence. Others might not understand the meaning of this, but he understood. Don't have anything to do with a woman. It was not a good sign. What was it? It was obviously a Yao character. She mentioned a woman and then a princess. This meant that this person's status was not low. Who else was a woman? Besides Wu Meinyang, there was only Princess Taiping. Both of them were important figures. Then the person they were talking about must be an important figure. At this time, if not the emperor, who else was important? Prime Minister Yu. What was his surname? His surname was Yao. A woman. It was not a good sign. Together, it was the Prime Minister. Could it be that they were telling him that the Prime Minister might not make it, and that he should stay away? Zhou Qiong was able to figure this out in a short amount of time. He wanted to know more about this, so he continued to ask. Father Zhang didn't even understand what Erniu said just now. He just said the original words. How could he say anything else? For a moment, he didn't know how to answer. Zhou Qiong naturally knew that Father Zhang didn't say anything at all. His purpose was to get someone to go to the place where the two masters were and talk to them. However, before he could continue to think of a way to get Father Zhang to ask, Erniu, who had just come over, came over again. He also whispered a few words into Father Zhang's ear. After Erniu left, Father Zhang calmed down a little and said to Zhou Qiong, Brother Miao Ran, there's no need to rush to know some things. As the saying goes, even if MT Tai collapses in front of you, your expression won't change. Brother Yongcheng is right. That should be the case. How could Zhou Qiong have the leisure to do that at this moment? Whether or not Mount Tai was Mount Tai did not matter to him. What he wanted to know now was who his future backer would be. No matter how tall or majestic Mount Tai was, it could not compare to a good backer. That's right. It's great that Brother Miaran can think this way. As the saying goes, one is hot and one is warm in Lingnan. If one were to ask who was sitting in the East Ridge, there would be a cover and a wood king by the side. As long as Brother Miaran remembers this, it's fine. Father Zhang repeated what Erniu had just said without changing a single word. Ah, what's the saying? Zhou Xiong didn't understand. He sat there and muttered a few words. Then he stopped talking and frowned. Beside him, Zhou Xiu didn't dare to disturb him. He smiled at Father Zhang and waited there. Zhou Qiong felt like his head was going to explode. He really couldn't understand the meaning of those 4 sentences. If it was someone else who said those words, he wouldn't care. However, it was the servant who said those words. Needless to say, that servant was related to the expert. The expert knew what he was thinking. Just now, he had already reminded her that she could not rely on a certain person. Now he said these words again. That was exactly what she wanted to know, which was who she could rely on. In Lingnan, when many people heard this, they would think of the line between the Qinling Mountains and the Huai River. In winter, the north would freeze, while the other side would be as warm as spring. But if he really thought about it this way, it seemed a little wrong. Then it should be one cold and one warm in Lingnan, not one hot and one warm, warm and hot. It was definitely impossible for the Qinling Mountains and the Huai River. So what kind of mountains were there? Thinking about it again, there was no need to rush. It was so far away. Could it be that the mountain range was further away? What kind of mountain range was the mountain range further away? Far mountain range. Lingnan wasn't far away. It would take at least half a year to get there from here. Could it be that someone would come from there? Otherwise, why would it be closer? Who was there? Yes, who could it be? If you ask who was sitting in the Dongling Mountains, Dongling, Lingnan Road, east. Guangzhou, who was there in Guangzhou? There was a cover, a wood, and a king in Guangzhou. There was a wood and a king, the governor of Guangzhou, Songjing? Could it be him? Yes, a cover. Wasn't it just a stroke above? Adding a king. Could it be that he would rise in the future? Zhou Qiong tried hard to think and finally thought of a person, but he couldn't be sure. It was too hard to believe. A person so far away. Could it be that he would enter the imperial court in the future? Thinking of this, he finally raised his head again and opened his mouth to speak to Father Zhang. Before he could speak, Father Zhang opened his mouth and said, "Everything has its own way is like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, and a shadow. It's like dew and lightning. You should see it as it is. Brother Miaran, since your name is Miaran, I believe you must know this." When Father Zhang said it, he felt that it was not reliable. It was a mess, and he didn't explain it clearly. How could people guess it? But he had to say it. When Zhou Qiong heard this, he had a different feeling. It seemed that the 2 masters had even calculated his reaction. They obviously didn't want to say too much to him, so they used a Buddhist saying to answer him. Yes, they had already told him a lot, so he couldn't continue to ask. Could it be that he had to ask them to tell him the details in front of them? If that was the case, then the masters were not hidden masters, but aides. It was impossible for ordinary people to get these words in their lifetime. He couldn't be too greedy. Thinking of this, Zhou Qiong finally smiled and said to Father Zhang, "Brother Yongqing, you're right. I understand these words and won't ask anything else. Sai, County Magistrate Chung is a blessed man. If possible, I would rather change places with him. But no matter how blessed County Magistrate Chung is, he can't compare to Brother Yongqing." After saying this, Zhou Qiong cupped his hands at Father Zhang with an envious expression. Father Zhang was completely dumbfounded. He didn't understand how Zhou Qiong could think of something that he didn't expect after he learned a few words from Erniu. He even envied him. Then why was County Magistrate Chung also blessed? Erniu's words were said by his wife, but Father Zhang knew that it must be said by his son and future daughter-in-law. The poem was written in a slightly different style, but the rhyme was not bad. Could it be that Zhou Qiong envied him for having a good son? This was not bad. His son and daughter-in-law were not ordinary. They were immortals. Not to mention other things, they had the ability to make money. When they were free, they would come up with a way to make money. They even made a lot of snacks for their family. Everything tasted good. The most important thing was that they were good at business and farming. The rice seedlings in Zhuangzi in the Gu family were all blown away by the wind. But in their own family, it was unknown how the two little guys played with it. They actually stood there motionless. If they took the seeds and played with them for a few days, the seedlings would be different. In addition to these, there was also the good thing about learning. After explaining it once and asking the two children a few questions, even if they learned it, not only would they be able to answer it in the examination, they would also be able to comprehend it by analogy. However, these things were only known by the people in the inner courtyard. Others didn't know. So how did Zhou Qiong know? Brother Yongcheng, what are you thinking about? Are you still not satisfied? With those two looking after you, Yongcheng can rest assured in the next imperial examination. When the time comes, I will help you. It will be the icing on the cake. Before Father Zhang could figure it out, Zhou Qiong called out to him. Only then did Father Zhang come back to his senses. He smiled and said, "Thank you, Brother Miaran, for your kind words. If I really become an official, I will have to thank you properly." "You don't have to thank me. Just thank the two masters behind you. Brother Yongcheng may not know, but County Magistrate Cheng is coming to acknowledge you as his teacher. With those two masters around, what else do you have to worry about?" Zhou Qiong didn't know what Father Zhang was thinking, so he continued to speak. Mr. Zhang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What kind of expert was this? Wasn't it his son and daughter-in-law? With just a few words, a sixth-rank official actually became like this. He didn't know what the two children had done to make the county magistrate want to be apprenticed to a master. He wondered if this Si-Tsang army adjunct Zhou would still say this after he knew what this expert looked like. Father Zhang naturally wouldn't sell his son out. He pretended not to know and said, "What masters? Brother Miaran, you must be joking. They are all ordinary people." Yes, ordinary people. They are all ordinary people. I was wrong. There are no masters. Ordinary people are good. When the restaurant is built, I will come again. I hope to see ordinary people. I will be satisfied with just one meeting. Zhou Qiong misunderstood and thought that Father Zhang was deliberately hiding something and didn't want to say it out loud. He was afraid of offending the masters, so he also echoed. After saying these words, he began to talk about other things with Father Zhang. He said whatever he could think of. It didn't matter whether it was right or wrong in the end. As long as he said it, it was fine. After flattering each other, the day passed. Of course, there was good wine and good food for lunch and dinner. Early the next morning, Zhou Qiong couldn't wait to leave. He wanted to go back and figure out what happened in the mountain village. The two families sent each other to the small bridge. After greeting each other, Zhou Qiong went back on his way. The people here also went back home. Everyone was busy with their own things. Only Father Zhang wanted to read a book. When he sat down in the study, he couldn't continue reading. He held the book in his hand. The more he read, the more confused he became. In the end, he reluctantly put it down and opened the window. Seeing the warm red sun outside, he thought of something. Someone call Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. Get some snacks and send them to the study. Father Zhang couldn't control himself. He had to ask someone to call the two children and get some food. When the time came, he would be able to coax the two little guys. Chapter 107. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were called over. They left quickly and came back quickly. Zhang Xiaobao's father asked a few questions, and they answered selectively. They did not say anything substantial, mainly because Zhang Xiaobao was afraid that his father would be thinking about other things all day long and would not have the energy to study. Even if they wanted to find someone for the imperial examination, they would need to have the ability and knowledge to do so. The snacks were also brought back. Those were the snacks that the two of them made themselves. Usually, they would give some to the people in the courtyard. We've made profit. This year, the whole county is considered to be a disaster, so the production will be reduced by half. We don't have to pay taxes, and we don't have to take out extra silk. We only need to contribute some labor. It's only a few days. Discuss with the Gu family and Zhuangzi to let the county magistrate fix our river. We can use our own people to fix things in our own place. We can even get some construction funds and widen the river. We won't be able to take over the fertile land. Let's go and eat the beef marrow. It's fresh. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he had done a big favor for the family and was in a good mood. As he spoke, he skipped like a child towards the kitchen. Wang Wan stood there in a daze for 2 seconds before running over as well. Don't think about the construction fees anymore. Fix the river properly. What if there's another flood tomorrow? We can't fool around with our own place. The money allocated might not be that much anyway. If we peel it off layer by layer, we won't have much left. The two discussed how much money they could allocate this time. How much money could County Magistrate Chung put here, and what would happen to the river? They went to the kitchen one after another. There were already people taking out the bone marrow of a few bones and putting it on a plate for the two little ancestors to eat. Since the ox had fallen to its death, they immediately sent someone to check on it. Qi Li and Senior Feng came together. When they saw the yamen runners and the ox, they were sure that the ox had indeed fallen to its death. One of them took 2 caddies of beef from the farm and left happily. When the bailiff left, he also took the ox head and half a fan of beef. When he returned, he could cook some beef soup to drink. Knowing that his wife was pregnant, he also gave him half a hoof of ox tendon. He told him to take it back to eat. When he felt disgusted, he would feel better after chewing. The bailiff's eyes were red when he received the items. Before he left a message saying that if there was any trouble, he would bring his brothers over to help. In the future, if the cow fell to its death, he would come over to prove it. Even if he accidentally fell on his neck with a knife, it would still count. The rest of the meat was taken back to the main courtyard and sent to the Wang family. The people in the inner courtyard had a meal of beef stewed with radishes. There wasn't much meat, but there was enough radishes. The beef bones were kept by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The rest of the meat was frozen and occasionally cooked for the family. Young master, do you think this bone marrow is enough? When the people in the kitchen saw that the two little ancestors had come, they put away all the knives and watched the stove. A person in charge of the kitchen brought a plate to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and asked respectfully. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the plate. There were 6 strips of bone marrow of different lengths and thicknesses. He nodded and said, "Well, okay, it's enough. It's enough for Cuckoo and me. It's just cooked, right? Make more, steam in the pot, mix it with the stock, add less salt, some chopped green onions and coriander, and send it to my family and the main house of the Wang family. Oh, remember not to add coriander in one bowl. My grandma doesn't like it. Cut some ginger foam. Grandma likes to eat that." The person in charge of the kitchen immediately went to arrange it. At the same time, he sighed. His grandson was 2 years old, but he always pestered the family for this and that. He had never said that he would let the family taste what he wanted. Looking at the young master and the young lady, they would think of the family when they had something good. They even remembered the old lady's favorite food. They couldn't compare with them. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan ate the bone marrow at noon and took a nap, Zhou Qiong had already arrived at the Qin family's village. He came back in a hurry. He was afraid that those people would find that he had left, and it would take a lot of effort to explain. Following the yamen runners waiting outside the mountain, when they entered the village, County Magistrate Chung immediately greeted them. He arranged a place to rest and asked someone to send food. The officials who were still working here were all exhausted. There was no part of their bodies that didn't ache. They weren't picky when they were eating last night. They ate whatever was given to them. When they slept last night, they were scattered among their families. Until now, they still didn't know that there was one less person working here. The 2 assistant ministers were very relaxed. They wandered around together and occasionally gave advice to the villagers on what to plant, especially the assistant minister of the Ministry of Works. He helped the villagers draw a picture of a tub and asked them to follow it. In the future, it would be more convenient to get water from a tub. Naturally, the food they ate was better. At noon today, they actually ate 2 meat dishes, 1 vegetable dish, and a bowl of soup. They hadn't seen the army from the prefecture for more than a day. They even asked, but the answer they got was that they were assigned to other things. When Zhou Qiong came back this time, he first talked to County Magistrate Chung. The Yamen runners were not in a hurry to show up. They let the officials do more work and tire themselves out so that it would save them some trouble. The Yamen runners understood that the officials were tired after walking for such a long time. If they had a good rest the next day, they might recover a lot. However, after working for another day, they would definitely be sore and painful. If they worked for a few more days, they might get used to it. However, if they worked for another day and walked back the next day, the feeling was obvious. At that time, they could only be fed by others and couldn't even lift their arms. Lord Zhou, have you finished your discussion this time? County Magistrate Chung asked Zhou Qiong to sit down. He poured the warm wine and pushed the wine bowl in front of Zhou Qiong. Yes, there are 2 small things. One is about Xiaohu's business. I don't care about this. Xiaohu just has to do it. The other is that they want to build a restaurant on the river. When there is no water, we can go and take a look and help out. For the last thing, I need County Magistrate Chang's help. Zhou Qiong was indeed tired and thirsty. After saying these words, he raised the bowl and drank it. He let out a long breath and felt comfortable. County Magistrate Chung helped to pour the wine again and asked, "What do you want me to help with? Is it about the disaster this year? This is a small matter. Our county is indeed suffering. It's not about this. I want you to go with them in summer or autumn, maybe to the east of Tang Mountain or to the south of Hunan. The drought in those 2 places is worse than here. There may also be a locust plague. Zhang Zhuangzi has prepared a lot of food, and some chickens and ducks are waiting to be sent to eat the locusts. In this way, the Baihu's food will be saved. When the time comes, you will get a medal, and so will I. You have won a lot of praise for the 2 auspicious signs, the curved plow, and your actions during the new year. However, it's still not enough to arrange a good position. If you go with them this time, your political achievements will be enough. Maybe you will get a higher rank than me." Zhou Qiong said enviously. Now, he was helping County Magistrate Chung. When the time came, Zhang Zhuangzi's people would also help him. In fact, they had done him a big favor last night. It turned out that the position of Prime Minister was changed. If it was someone else who said this, he would not believe it. However, he had to remember this in his heart when he saw what the 2 masters had done. County Magistrate Chung understood as soon as he heard this. So this was the plan of the other side. No wonder they asked him to help delay until the summer and autumn season. This was a great contribution. No matter who took out the grain, as long as it was in Sanshui County and he could show up, he would be counted in. Thank you for telling me, Mr. Zhou. I wonder who will be sent to take care of this matter this time. At that time, if I can say a few words, my side will be more secure. I wonder what those 2 experts look like. County Magistrate Chung was envious of Zhou Qiong now. It was an opportunity for him to meet the 2 masters. Zhou Qiong shook his head helplessly. I don't see them either. The 2 masters are really good. Before I said I wanted to meet them, they had already sent someone to solve my doubts during the meal. They are really good at predicting. I can't tell you more. Just remember, during summer and autumn, don't get too close to the right Prime Minister. Just be a good official. So, that Yao is going to retire? County Magistrate Chung was shocked. He could not understand. Now that the person could still be trusted by the higher-ups, why would he come down? He had doubts in his heart. Suddenly, he remembered that the 2 masters of Zhang Zhuangzi did not tell him. They told Zhou Qiong and had nothing to do with him. In this case, they felt that his position was too low and there was no need for him to know about this matter. Maybe it was really like this, so he had to be careful. When County Magistrate Chung wanted to ask some more questions, he found that Zhou Qiong had already started eating. He had to suppress the doubts in his heart and planned to find a way to ask when he accompanied the disaster relief. The two chatted for a while. After the meal, Zhou Qiong directly lay down to rest. County Magistrate Chung sensibly left. When it was almost nighttime, he found Village Chief Qin and whispered a few words in his ear. The officials who had worked for 2 days dragged their tired bodies back to eat when they were called together. Suddenly, they found that the food on the table had changed. It was no longer the rice balls that were hard to swallow, but a small vegetable box. No wonder it smelled so good just now. There were also more dishes. The bitter and astringent pickles were gone and replaced with 3 dishes: mushroom fried meat, egg fried with shallots, steamed radish dipped in sauce, and a bowl of wild vegetable soup with a lot of oil floating on it. This was not a bitter wild vegetable, but a cat's ear, also known as qingming grass. The soup made by the small vegetable box and the cat's ear was very fresh and tender. All the officials sat there but did not dare to move their chopsticks. They were afraid that these people did not have good intentions. At this time, a yamen runner appeared in front of everyone and explained, "Lords, I'm back. Tomorrow morning, you don't have to work and can enjoy the beauty of the mountains and rivers here. Last time, I promised that as long as a place entered the top 5 on the classification list, I would add 4 more chapters. Today, I reached the top 5, so I would add 4 more chapters. Thank you. To be honest, I have not missed a single day." Chapter 108. When the officials saw the bailiff and heard his words, they were so moved that they almost cried. It was not easy. They finally got through it. When they looked at the food in front of them, they felt that this food should be in heaven and not in the mortal world. When they took a bite, it was so delicious. Some of the officials were so moved by the spicy taste of the vegetables that they cried. They looked at the bailiff, who was waiting for orders. It was as if they had seen their parents. The bailiff saw that everyone's expressions were a little strange, and their emotions were not so stable. He had no choice but to ask again, "My lords, what should we do tomorrow? Should we go on a boat or enjoy the scenery?" "I just want to ask, can we go back?" An official ate 2 boxes of vegetables in a row and choked while speaking. He hurriedly drank a mouthful of soup and stood there with his neck straightened. After a while, he let out a long breath and looked at the bailiff, eagerly waiting for a reply. "What? Go back? This? Little brother, don't worry. When we go back, oh no, we will pay for the meal this time. 10 taels of silver per person. No, 20 taels of silver. Little brother, you have worked hard, so naturally, you will not be left out." When another person heard the bailiff's question, he opened his mouth and said a lot of words. He was really afraid. If he stayed any longer, he might lose his life in the village. That's not necessary. What I mean is that you really don't want to have fun here. Under the night sky, the crescent moon is in the sky, the water is clear, and the breeze is gentle. My lords, please take your time and think of more interesting things. The bailiff did not expect that his words would cause such a big reaction. All the officials put down their chopsticks and listened attentively. "Thank you, little brother, for your kindness. Let's wait for the others to come. We have to go back and see the disaster situation in the county. The people's affairs are more important." The official who spoke at the beginning continued. He was really scared. How could he think of interesting things? In this place, the first thing that came to mind was how he carried the water. Not to mention the water in the buckets. The wooden buckets were not light at all. He quickly found an excuse and said that he wanted to go back to the county to check on the situation. In fact, he wanted to hide as far away as possible and never come back to this place in his next life. The bailiff was still hesitating. The official who said that he would pay also took over and said, "This meal costs 30 taels of silver. When the time comes, all the brothers in the county will each pay 5 taels of silver. I will pay when I get back." With him taking the lead, the other officials also understood that the money was too little. One by one, they followed suit. Some even wanted to write down a written agreement on the spot. As a result, County Magistrate Chung was alarmed. He came here with the 2 assistant ministers. When he heard that the officials were willing to spend more money to pay for the meal, he smiled and said, "Your Excellencies, I know that you are not only willing to pay for a few meals, but also to help Sanchue County survive the drought. This time, I thank you on behalf of the people of Sanchue County." With these words and the presence of the 2 assistant ministers, the officials did not dare to go back on their words. As long as County Magistrate Chung wrote a memorial, it would not be as simple as breaking the rules and coming out to play. One by one, they calculated how much money they would have to pay. They did not know, but they regretted it once they calculated, especially the one who spoke first. At this time, he was being stared at by the others. It was fine to pay 30 taels of silver for the meal. After all, it was already in their stomachs. But what about 5 taels of silver for each bailiff? How many bailiffs were there in Sanchue County? With the presence of the 2 superiors, these officials could only agree once more. Then they began to eat the food on the table with all their might, hating that they could not eat all the money back. They also drank bowl after bowl of soup. County Magistrate Chung did not disturb them. He turned around and left to eat his own food. His food was better, especially the small root vegetable box. Other people's boxes might contain some garlic, but his was full of tender small root vegetables. Some villagers even specially marinated some good small root vegetables with salt. When eaten, it could be said to be fresh and delicious. While these people were eating, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also eating. They seemed to have thought of the same thing. They also made a small root vegetable box and cat ear soup. The only difference was that other people's small root vegetable box only had small root vegetables and eggs, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had shrimp meat in their soup. 3-inch-long prawns were used in some restaurants to cook whole prawns. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had the prawns chopped up and wrapped in a box. The small root cabbage also needed to be soaked in water for a while so that it wouldn't be as spicy. Picking out the tender small root cabbage wouldn't cause any irritation. Delicious, really delicious. The small root vegetables and cat ear soup taste so good together, especially the spicy taste of the small root vegetables in the mouth. When you drink a mouthful of the soup, the cat ears are actually really fluffy. When you eat it, there is an earthy taste in the mouth and a little numb in the tongue. I have never eaten it before. Wang Wan took a bite of the small box specially made for her and Zhang Xiaobao. After drinking a mouthful of soup, she squinted her long eyelashes and said happily, "Yes, I always ate it when I was young." There were rivers and mountains behind the orphanage. Grandpa took me there to dig for cat ears and pick small root vegetables. We could also meet the mountain red in the mountains. When we came back, we would cook it. Usually, it was made into boxes. There were less white flour and more corn flour. Then we would drink cat ear soup. Every time I ate it, I felt the happiest time. At that time, we were poor. Few people gave us money. When they came, they would only give us some fruit. My brothers and sisters had to wear clothes. We thought that only the poor would eat it. Later, when we grew up, we found that it was actually more expensive than normal food. Don't you think it's funny? When I finally went there, I heard that a kilogram of tender small root vegetables cost 14 yuan, and meat was only 9 yuan. At that time, if someone was willing to exchange, we were willing to exchange a kilogram of small root vegetables for a kilogram of meat. Have you seen my picture when I was young? Even a skinny monkey would grin when he saw it. Eat it. What you eat is not that kind. There are also shrimps in it. Eat them all. Don't waste them. Later on, when I was rich, I didn't care if the food was more expensive, but I never threw anything. Zhang Xiaobao took a bite of the box and whimpered. His face was full of nostalgia. Wang Wan didn't know if she should be envious or sad. She drank a mouthful of soup and said, "Then why don't you go to the river to catch fish and shrimps? The children here know how to do that." Who said that we didn't catch enough? We caught them and sold them for money. The things in the river were not valuable. The shrimps were only an inch long, and the fish were only 2 or 3 inches long. Grandpa Dean couldn't sell them for much. Later on, it was polluted by the starch factory. Even those things couldn't be obtained. Everyone went to the mountains to dig for dandelions, which are considered a kind of medicinal material. There were also various kinds of wormwood, all of which were edible. There was also a plant known as the windbreak plant, which was sold well. It was especially useful for treating allergies, and it was faster than any medicine. As long as the water was boiled, the pimples on the body would disappear in less than a minute after rubbing them with the water. At that time, the older children did most of the work. I was still young, so I followed behind and helped to search for things. When I was 5 years old, a 9-year-old brother was bitten by a snake because he went to the mountains to dig for things. We called the snake turf. It wasn't very poisonous. It would definitely not destroy the blood molecules in a few minutes or even seconds. Grandpa Dean carried him out to get the serum. At that time, the serum was not expensive. The hospital was developing well. Not to mention 1 bite, even 10 bites would be enough. As long as he was sent to the hospital for the injection, he would be fine. Moreover, the treatment of the children in the orphanage was not that expensive. They could even give the treatment for free. But at that time, there was a medical official from the province. Grandpa was stopped outside. No matter what, he was not allowed to enter. The official was going to inspect the hospital for 3 days. Grandpa had no choice. He wanted to go to another city, but they would not care about the orphans here. In the end, he got some black powder and pasted it on the brother's leg. 2 days later, the leg was swollen to the size of his waist. When the official left, it was too late to go to the hospital. After a week, he died. Zhang Xiaobao seemed to be talking about something that had nothing to do with him. He still had a happy expression on his face when he was eating. As he spoke, he picked out some prawn meat and put it on the plate in front of Wang Wan. Wang Wan did not eat at all. She was stunned for a while. She looked at Zhang Xiaobao and said, "So you didn't take revenge? I think you are the most important person in this aspect." "Comrade Wang Wan, you are wrong. Why would I take revenge? If someone made a mistake, there would naturally be the law to solve it. You can't knowingly break the law. That's unacceptable. I'm not a vengeful person. I'm a good person. It's God's doing." That official and the 26 related people were accidentally bitten by a snake. They were bitten by a snake called the taipan snake. Why do you think it is so unbelievable? That snake does not exist in Asia. It lives in desert areas and usually does not take the initiative to attack people. Do you think it is a tourist? Otherwise, it could have been smuggled by someone. It is very possible. Didn't that person know that he only had a few minutes to react after being bitten by this snake? Those people died so miserably. Their blood was coagulated. This is really God's blessing. Good will be rewarded, evil will be punished. Do more good things. Zhang Xiaobao looked like he was bemoaning the state of the universe and pitying the fate of mankind. He picked up a slightly older cat ear from Wang Wan's soup bowl. The July 12th tragedy. A hospital's director, deputy director, and a high-ranking official were all bitten to death by the taipan snake. Before they died, they knew that the snake was poisonous and called for help. When they died, they had a hopeless look on their faces. No clues could be found. So it was all done by you? Just because a child died in the orphanage. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao and felt a little scared. It was not me. You don't have any evidence to prove that their idea was bad, really. Chapter 109. Wang Wan listened to Zhang Xiaobao's nonchalant explanation and didn't know what to say. She still remembered that because this case was too big, it was finally handed over to them. There were 26 people, 26 lives. They didn't even know who killed them when they died. Each and every one of them used their last moments to reveal their possible opponents. As a result, following the clues, they cleaned up quite a number of corrupt officials, but none of them admitted that they were the ones who released the snakes. Zhang Xiaobao, you're really something. Xiaobao, don't always pick up prawns for me. If I want to eat prawns, I can just eat them directly. Why eat the ones in the box? Tell me, how much money did you spend on this? As far as I know, the price of the snake isn't cheap. It had to be transported from so far away, and it wasn't just one. Many died on the way, right? Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao with a smile. Seeing that Zhang Xiaobao still had that blank look in his eyes, she said, "Anyway, no one can hold you accountable now that you've admitted it. What are you afraid of?" "I'm afraid? What am I afraid of? Those people should be afraid. Even God can't stand their way of doing things." I'm guessing that the snake knew about this situation and crawled over by itself. It's not easy to climb over mountains just to bite people. The first step was to investigate and find out where these people often go. For example, that high-ranking official of high-ranking officials often goes to some underground entertainment venue. How much effort do you think the snake had to put in? That guy didn't forget to bring along guards when he was looking for the top courtesan. He had to hide, right? He also had to discuss the time with others of the same kind to take action together. It's not easy. Zhang Xiaobao frowned and pursed his lips. He used words to paint a picture for Wang Wan. "Fine, Zhang Xiaobao, you're good. You're so stubborn. It's a pity that we don't have a lie detector. Otherwise, we'll definitely expose your past." Wang Wan didn't care how many things Zhang Xiaobao had done in the past. She just wanted to get the truth from Zhang Xiaobao's mouth. Unfortunately, this bad guy Zhang Xiaobao still wouldn't tell her the truth. His mouth was full of lies. Zhang Xiaobao smiled at Wang Wan and took another bite of the vegetable box. "Yes, if you have a lie detector, you should let me use it. I'll let you know what it means to be mentally strong. Let me tell you something. A person killed someone. He was afraid of being caught and sent to the lie detector. So he looked at himself in the mirror and kept saying, 'I didn't kill anyone, you didn't kill anyone, I didn't kill anyone.' Guess what happened in the end?" "What's wrong?" Wang Wan asked. In the end, when all the evidence pointed to him, he saw the corpse and the evidence. He stared blankly at the investigator standing in front of him and said, "Who is this dead person?" "Did I kill him? I didn't kill anyone. Did you make a mistake?" In the end, all the data on his body on the lie detector showed that he wasn't lying. In the end, the doctor determined that he was in an unconscious state when he killed the person. Zhang Xiaobao picked up a piece of beef and put it in his mouth. He chewed vigorously as he spoke to Wang Wan. After Wang Wan heard this, she was stunned and didn't know what to say. It was indeed as Zhang Xiaobao said. When a person hypnotized themselves, they wouldn't be able to get any information from their physiological reactions unless they knew their psychological weakness. These people weren't scary. As long as you wanted to find their psychological weakness, you would definitely be able to find it. After all, he used hypnosis. The truly scary ones were people like Zhang Xiaobao. He understood people's psychological activities and physical reactions. He could hypnotize himself at any time and make his body synchronize. Not to mention anything else, when she wanted to rest and enter deep sleep together with him. She had tried it before. The fastest she could do was 3 minutes and 20 seconds, but Zhang Xiaobao, who was lying next to her, only needed 26 seconds to complete it. He was hypnotizing himself. If he could use some tools, hypnotizing others seemed to be the same speed. Thinking of this, Wang Wan felt that since she already knew the truth, she didn't care if he admitted it personally. So she said, "Can you teach me this method of yours? I don't want to fall asleep so quickly." "It can't be taught. When I first learned it, I needed 5 minutes. Later on, I experienced so many things that I didn't care about honor and disgrace anymore. That's why I was able to shorten the time bit by bit. Every time I suffered a loss, every time I failed, and every time I was humiliated, I found that nothing could sway me. This is a kind of self-adjustment psychology. If you suffer a big loss when you're not 20 years old, then you can live to 30 years old. You have 10 years to adjust. If I suffer a loss when I'm 50 years old and can live to 100 years old, then I have 50 years to adjust. Why do you think that you will lose your life tomorrow when you suffer a loss today? At that time, you will find that honor and disgrace aren't so important. Existence is the only thing. Then go to sleep." As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he picked up a box with his chopsticks and stared at it. This made Wang Wan also look at it. When Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, Wang Wan yawned, shook her head, and reached out to pinch Zhang Xiaobao. Little guy, who do you think you are? You dare to hypnotize me? What are you thinking? Do you think I'm a free spirit? I'll let you scheme against me. I'll let you scheme against me. I'll strangle you to death. I miscalculated. I forgot the most important point of hypnosis. Don't use it on people who have strong beliefs in their hearts. Yes, you are a qualified warrior, Bawang Flower. Using this method in front of you is a kind of blasphemy, just like using a lie detector to deal with me. Zhang Xiaobao endured the pain of being pinched and pretended not to care. He directly put a box into his mouth and bit it hard. Speak. Why are you playing tricks on me? Wang Wan said angrily. It's just a practice. If I said that I wanted to take advantage of you, would you believe me? Zhang Xiaobao replied truthfully. He really did think that way, and he didn't have any malicious intentions. What are you thinking? Humph, I want to see if you can sleep at night. Be careful. The ground is too hard. You might break it if you fall. Wang Wan put on a straight face, and her hands were still moving in circles. However, Zhang Xiaobao could endure it, and he didn't move like a mountain. You're scaring me. Separate, I want to separate. At night, I'll ask Pomegranate to tie me to the mat, the kind that is 1 inch thick. I have to bite it continuously. Zhang Xiaobao was really afraid of being tricked. This kind of threat was the most effective. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao and suddenly laughed. She pushed the soup in front of him. Eat your food. Don't think that you're the most powerful person in the world. Some people can't be controlled by you. I'll let you feel frustration and failure again. It's good for your growth. You have to thank me. Thank you. Zhang Xiaobao put his head into the soup bowl and said in a muffled voice. The night was quiet. When others were sleeping, the officials in the Qin family's village couldn't stand the long night. That night, they found County Magistrate Chung and asked to leave. After County Magistrate Chung failed to persuade them several times, he had to follow their request. He led them to hurry on with the journey at night. It was better than when they came because there were torches to light. County Magistrate Chung still chose the way he came. No matter what, he couldn't let people know that there was another way to get out of here faster. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. These people would hate him to death, even if he explained that he didn't know at that time. A group of people walked in the mountains with torches. At this time, there was no sound of the flute. Only the occasional chirping of some night owls came from the woods, which made people's hair stand on end. Even so, the group didn't stop. They were still moving. These officials were determined to leave this sad place as soon as possible. As for revenge, they also thought about it. However, they saw that there were only a few people in the village. If they were found out, they didn't dare to think about the consequences, especially when they had to avoid County Magistrate Chung. Officials, are you tired? Take a rest, and then we'll continue. County Magistrate Chung felt that these officials were a little different from ordinary people when they were hurrying. Each of them had a fierce expression, which made him a little worried. He was afraid that they would be tired. These officials heard County Magistrate Cheng's words, but none of them said a word. They were all holding their breath and wanted to leave as soon as possible. They were panting heavily, and their eyes were wide open as they hurried on with their journey. After walking for a while, County Magistrate Chung really had no choice but to stop them. These officials could walk forward with a strong momentum, but the 2 assistant ministers couldn't. The assistant ministers had a good rest these 2 days and didn't suffer so much. My lord, please slow down. The assistant ministers are still behind us. These officials, who were walking with a strong momentum, had to stop when they heard County Magistrate Cheng's words. They were also afraid that something would happen to the 2 assistant ministers behind them. If that happened, they wouldn't be able to escape just by suffering a little now. One by one, they stopped and waited for the 2 assistant ministers behind them, accompanied by yamen runners. When they were walking just now, they had forgotten that they were tired. Now that they stopped, they suddenly felt that there was no place that didn't feel uncomfortable. The fatigue that they had been feeling for the past few days finally broke out at this moment. When the night wind blew, people's minds were a little dazed when they were awake. County Magistrate Chung hurriedly asked people to get some dry wood to burn. He brought food and water to everyone and arranged them to the side of the fire so that they wouldn't catch a cold. Otherwise, they might fall sick directly here. In fact, County Magistrate Chung knew that even with this arrangement, many people who could make it to the foot of the mountain would fall sick. At that time, they would have to find a doctor to treat them. At most, they would just catch a cold. These people's bodies were not bad, and they wouldn't die when the time came. Just as County Magistrate Chung had guessed, when they reached the foot of the mountain and saw the carriages that came to welcome them, a few of them fell down immediately. They were carried to the carriages and called for a doctor to treat them. When they returned to the yamen, they would need to rest for some time. Chapter 110. In the middle of the night, County Magistrate Chung settled everyone down and finally let out a sigh of relief. Now, he didn't have to worry about anyone causing trouble. When the two assistant ministers came this time, they said that they wanted to check something, but they were very honest. They didn't say much and didn't ask much. When they arranged for the officials to rest at night, the two assistant ministers told them not to worry and to take things slowly in the county. They already knew some things. There was indeed a drought, especially the assistant minister of the Ministry of Works. He even said that when they returned to the capital, he would submit a report and ask for more money. With the two assistant ministers' words, County Magistrate Chung took a hot bath and fell asleep under the massage of the servants. He had to maintain an energetic appearance every day, especially tomorrow morning. He heard from Zhou Qiong that Zhang Jizhuangzi would send someone to give him 1,500 taels of silver. However, these taels of silver were not given for free. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing for the county magistrate. As an official of the imperial court, he actually needed the charity of a Zhuangzi. If word got out, people would not trust him as an official. Therefore, the other side also said that they would use the money to buy a piece of land, the land beside the little Luoshui River. If it was another piece of land, County Magistrate Chung would think about whether Zhang Jizhuangzi was deliberately taking advantage of this situation to take advantage of him. However, he couldn't say anything about that piece of land. The other party had already said that they wanted the North Bank. What did the North Bank have? As a county magistrate, he naturally knew that it was just a broken mountain. It took up a lot of land, but it couldn't grow anything. There were only a few trees. If that mountain was worth 1,500 taels of silver, wouldn't the other pieces of land be worth dozens of times more? He had to deal with this matter personally. First, he had to spread the news to the people that Zhang Jizhuangzi was buying the mountain. He had to let the people know that there was a Zhuangzi who was willing to make a loss. Second, he had to wait for the yamen to take out the money to let the people know that the yamen didn't take their money and didn't arbitrarily collect taxes from the people. The next morning, County Magistrate Chung woke up. Before he could ask, a servant said to him, "Master, only 2 of those officials can still get up. The others are all sick. Last night, we sent someone to check on them. They said that they are fine and will recover after a few days of rest. Master, do you want to go check on them? Are they really fine? All right, let them take care of them. As for the remaining 2, don't worry about them. Even if they are not sick, they won't be able to cause trouble for the time being. Of course, we have to check on them. Go and prepare some light food. Oh, also prepare some wood ears. These people are all ancestors. Every one of them has to take out a few hundred taels of silver. It's worth it to eat good food and drink." When County Magistrate Chung thought of what these people had said, he became happy. This was good. With Zhang Jizhuangzi's support and 1,500 taels of silver, even if they bought some wood ears from Zhang Jizhuangzi when they left, they would still be able to make a lot of money. The rest of the money would be used to suppress the price of food due to the drought, especially those merchants who had bad intentions. No matter what, they couldn't be allowed to raise the price of food. Otherwise, the people would go hungry. After freshening up and eating some breakfast, County Magistrate Chung asked people to carry light food to the places where the officials were. Those who were sick were told to rest well. Those who were not sick could only force themselves to get up. Their bodies were sore and painful. After being served and washed up, they didn't even have the strength to eat. When County Magistrate Chung came over with the food, the two of them were talking about this matter. They had suffered a lot. After exchanging a few words with County Magistrate Chung and waiting for him to leave, the two of them sat at the table. Whenever someone fed them, they would take a bite. The two of them were not carrying water. They were helping to clear the wasteland. They swung the pickaxe one after another. Now, both of their arms were thicker than usual. They hung there, and the slightest movement would make them suck in a breath of cold air. If it were someone who exercised regularly, they would tell them that this was called exhilaration. After arranging these things, County Magistrate Chung began to wait for the people from Zhangjiazhuangzi to come. At the same time, he asked people to keep writing notices to let the people in the county know about this matter. As for those who couldn't read, he wasn't worried. Naturally, there would be people who were willing to show that they could read. Before the people from Zhangjiazhuangzi came, most of the people in the county knew about this matter. Some people said that Zhangjiazhuangzi was stupid, while others said that Zhangjiazhuangzi was benevolent. In any case, no one said that Zhangjiazhuangzi could make money by buying that mountain. It was already good enough that he didn't lose money. At 9:15, Erniu, who was on Zhangjiazhuangzi, finally arrived. He came by himself. He put 1,500 taels of silver behind him. Not only were they all silver, there were also copper coins and cloth. Altogether, they filled up 2 carriages. If it was only silver, a few boxes would be enough. Without the money, County Magistrate Chung naturally wouldn't lead Erniu to the place immediately. He first arranged for Erniu to rest. Even though Erniu was a servant, County Magistrate Chung still maintained the proper respect. Erniu, this official remembers that you did a lot of things for Zhangjiazhuangzi, right? County Magistrate Chung arranged for Erniu to eat at the place where he was going to let him eat something. Since he came so early, he must have not eaten breakfast. At the same time, he also casually chatted with him. In reply to your question, in fact, I didn't do much. I just listened to the master. Whatever the master asked me to do, I just did it. Your Excellency, you don't need to prepare the food. I have brought it. Look, it's all in the bag. Ernie was usually quite clever. When he saw the place where he was, he knew what the county magistrate had arranged. As he spoke, he put the bag on his back on the table and quickly opened it. There were some bamboo tubes inside. Oh, you even brought things here? Coming out from home, you must have spent a lot of time preparing these things, right? County Magistrate Chung pretended to be curious and asked. In fact, he was not happy in his heart. How long did it take to prepare these things? If he didn't prepare them, wouldn't he have come long ago? Of course, Ernie understood the hidden meaning in County Magistrate Cheng's words. He smiled and explained, Your Excellency, you are wrong this time. Hee. These things I brought were not prepared at home. They were prepared by the master. I got up early and rushed here with these things. I didn't stop to rest at all. As he spoke, he opened the things one by one. There was a big bamboo tube with tofu pudding in it. He loved to eat this, so this was what was prepared for him. There were several smaller bamboo tubes with chives and slices of sliced beef. The smallest bamboo tube had garlic sauce in it. There was a torn oil paper bag next to it. There were 3 big white steam buns, a pair of bamboo chopsticks, and a copper spoon. These things were his breakfast and utensils. He poured the steaming braised food into the tofu pudding, stirred it with a spoon, and put in some chives. It was ready to eat. Your Excellency, I am indeed hungry. I will eat first, Ernie said to County Magistrate Chung apologetically and began to eat. County Magistrate Chung was dumbfounded. There was sliced beef and garlic sauce. There were mushrooms, diced meat, with ears, coriander, and plumeria in the braised food. Not to mention other things, this braised food could be exchanged for hundreds of bowls of tofu pudding. Looking at Ernie eating happily, County Magistrate Chung swallowed his saliva and asked, "Why is the master so good to you? Do you usually eat this?" "No, the food I usually eat is not very good, but not by much. I am going out for business. Your Excellency said that it is easy to stay at home, but difficult to go out. A poor family needs to be blessed. How can the food outside be better than the food at home? So he brought it to me so that I can eat better outside." Ernie took a spoonful of tofu pudding, swallowed it, and replied to County Magistrate Chung with a simple and honest smile on his face. However, County Magistrate Chung did not smile at all. How could the master be so considerate to a servant? Ernie's words were not said by the master to a servant. It was clearly instructed by the parents when their children were going on a long trip. If anyone wanted to bribe such a servant, there was no need to consider. Not to mention Ernie. If he were in Ernie's position, he would also protect the master wholeheartedly. Is it delicious? County Magistrate Chung was lost in thought. When he asked about the fragrance of the braised food and the bean smell of the tofu pudding, he could not help but ask. It's delicious. You may not know, but the food made by our master is delicious. Look at the sliced beef. It is not cooked directly in the pot. That way, the meat will be hard. Look at this, it is soft. When cooking, you have to add some other things, which are the things that are used in the dough. Yes, it is a secret recipe. Add that thing together and cook it. After cooking, it will become like this. The garlic sauce is also different. Other garlic sauces are made by crushing the garlic and adding the soy sauce. Here, you have to cut the garlic into foam and soak it in the soy sauce for a few days before taking it out. It is not so spicy and has a special taste. If you don't believe me, you can try it. As Ernie spoke, he saw that he had not eaten many slices of the sliced beef and pushed it in front of County Magistrate Chung. He also pushed the garlic sauce over. County Magistrate Chung looked at the food and struggled to decide whether to eat it or not. If he ate it, he was afraid that he would lose face. If he did not eat it, he would be tempted by Ernie's words. In the end, he persuaded himself that these were his master's food. As a disciple, it was not a big deal to eat some. With this thought, County Magistrate Chung finally put down his pride. He directly picked up a slice of beef and dipped it in the garlic sauce. He put it into his mouth and tasted it carefully. Good, it is indeed extraordinary. Master is indeed capable. Ernio, have you thought about your master's decision to buy that mountain this time? Don't you think it will be a loss? If it doesn't work out, I will change the place. Change? No, sir, you can't change it. When we came here, our master said that he wanted that mountain. Don't tell me you are going back on your words? When Ernie heard this, he put down his chopsticks and replied firmly. He did not know why the little young master wanted that mountain. He only knew that since the little young master wanted it, it was a good deal. Chapter 111. The sun hung in the sky and shone on the ground, taking away the remaining cold of spring. The green grass swayed back and forth against the flowers. Xiao Hong drove the big goose, Fluffy, and led a group of ducks and geese into the water to play. Sometimes they would find a few small fish that they brought into the pond and compete with each other to eat. Every time a flock of geese flew over her head, she would raise her head and call out twice. The oval-shaped leaves of a locust tree rustled with the wind. The strings of small green beans hanging down from the branches seemed to be about to stretch out and bloom into small white flowers. The children on Zhuangzi all came outside to cut the grass that they were going to feed the livestock. They eagerly looked at the locust tree flowers that were about to bloom so that they could pick some to eat. The sweet locust tree flowers had a special taste, or they could go home and cook locust tree flowers for their masters to brew wine. The taste was a little worse than the elm tree flowers, but there were too many insects on the elm tree flowers, so the locust tree flowers couldn't be eaten too much. When they played together, the older children had to look after the younger children and find fun places to play. Under the lead of the older children, the younger children shouted and played, sprinkling the various places of Zhuangzi with laughter. After lunch, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan drank a little more bone soup. They lay side by side on the chairs in the small courtyard that belonged to the two of them, basking in the sun. The noon sun cast short shadows of the two chairs on the ground. Pomegranate sprayed water on the wood ears, leaving only the two of them to enjoy this leisurely time. The toads will come out soon, right? After lying down for a while with closed eyes, the blanket covering her navel slid down a little. Wang Wan pulled the blanket up and closed her eyes again. Yes, it seems that we need to block the bottom of the small river in front of the door and let water in. If the soil is too hard, the hibernating toads won't be able to climb out. This year, let the children not catch toads so early. It's best to let all the toads go into the pond and the paddy field. The pond is always left open to give the toads more places to hibernate. When summer comes, the toads can be the staple food every day. Zhang Xiaobao put his arms behind his head, raised his legs, and shook them as he made up his mind. You still have fish in the paddy field. When the time comes, the toad eggs and small tadpoles will be eaten. Wang Wan was a little worried. Yes, there will be fewer toads in the paddy field and more in the pond. Those toads that can survive in the paddy field are either lucky or strong. After hibernation, the next generation will be stronger. That's the only thing we can do. Let's raise a few dogs this year. It's best if we have a litter of them, so that they can fight together. Wang Wan thought of the dogs again. When Zhang Xiaobao heard that she wanted to raise a dog, he shivered and disagreed. I don't like dogs. I have to take care of them. I have to put more energy into these things and less energy in other aspects. Why don't you raise them yourself? There is a sandstone field next to the vegetable field. You can make a nest there. There are leftovers in the yard that can be fed. Don't even think about giving my dogs leftovers. There is salt and other seasonings. I want to choose the dogs myself. When they are young, I will feed them some milk and porridge. When they grow up, I will feed them grain, raw meat, and vegetables. I have so many chickens, I will feed them to the chicken rack. I will also train them myself. Wang Wan didn't care whether Zhang Xiaobao was willing to raise them with her or not. He was independent and couldn't be forced. It was fine as long as there was a place and food. Zhang Xiaobao opened his eyes and turned to look at Wang Wan. Are you going to raise a native dog like a police dog? Have you learned it? I have seen it and asked the breeder. I just need to copy it. It's just that I don't have enough experience. A dog that can't be raised well is a native dog. A dog that can't be raised well is a police dog. When the things in your family are settled, you can find me a good breed of dog. Can you get a Tibetan Mastiff? If there are a few, then they will do. Wang Wan imagined a group of powerful dogs following her and being obedient in the future. She laughed. Zhang Xiaobao's mouth moved. He didn't know how to organize his words. After waiting for a while, he saw that Wang Wan was still fantasizing. He said, Is there anyone who uses a Tibetan Mastiff as a police dog? It was a group of Boans who chased after me, but what did you do? Wang Wan didn't fantasize this time and turned to question him. I got rid of them, but they still wanted to track me down. I used something stimulating so that they couldn't smell anything. You don't think that I killed them, do you? I fought such a group with my bare hands. There were many people with guns behind them. Do you think I am stupid? Zhang Xiaobao felt that Wang Wan, who cared about dogs, shouldn't think too highly of herself. Seeing that Wang Wan was relieved, he said, Ask someone who has a dog that can breed with wolves. I will buy it for you. Tibetan Mastiffs are not suitable. Who told you that Tibetan Mastiffs can't be police dogs? Are you ignorant? You need to find wolf dogs, but you also need to pay attention to Tibetan Mastiffs. Especially in winter, Tibetan Mastiffs can still be used here. Wang Wan curled her lips. Well, they can even get carrots from Tubo. A few dogs are nothing. When you really find them, don't feed them with my beef. Pork. It just so happens that the piglets caught by the farmers have all grown up. Seeing that Wang Wan was so serious, Zhang Xiaobao had to compromise. Don't eat pork. If you don't have beef, eat mutton. Cooperate with me during training. For example, When the dogs are tied up and it's feeding time, you can beat the dogs and don't let them eat. I will come over and drive you away so that the dogs will trust me more. Wang Wan began to arrange things for Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao blinked a few times and said, "If the dogs trust you, then what about me?" In the Yamen of Sanshui County, Erniu had already finished his meal. Most of the beef had been digested by County Magistrate Chung. After resting for a while, County Magistrate Chung took a group of people with great fanfare. Together with the money, cloth, and other things from the Zhang family, they all headed towards the little Luoshui River. The people here had already received the news, and all of them ran over to see what was going on. Some even waited in front of the Yamen. As soon as they came out, they followed beside them. They wanted to see which idiot Zhangjie Zhuangzi was. They also wanted to count the money in the carriage to see if there was really 1,500 taels of silver. By the time County Magistrate Chung and his entourage arrived, there were already quite a number of people surrounding them. In order to create a scene, County Magistrate Chung prepared to take down the cloth, copper coins, and silver from the carriage in front of the commoners. He let the people count them and found that it was exactly 1,500 taels of silver. He then had people go to the other side of the river to measure. After a busy process, it took more than 2 hours. This was because there were many people to measure. The land on the other side of the river was 1,200 mu. He wrote the document, printed it, and waited for Erniu to take the document back. The owner of the house would write his name and put his fingerprint on it. This land would then belong to Zhangjie Zhuangzi, and he would not be able to take the money back. The people were all watching. If the money was used to buy fertile land, there would be people who would think that County Magistrate Chung was greedy. After all, the price was too cheap. However, to buy a barren mountain, everyone felt that there was something wrong with the people of Zhangjie Zhuangzi. Erniu did not care about the people's discussion. He took the document and immediately rushed back. He had the owner of the house put his fingerprint on it. Song Jinggong, who had been accompanying him, also started to move. He started to recruit people on the spot to start building the land on the other side of the river. "Zijin, are you preparing to plant things over there?" County Magistrate Chung was puzzled when he saw Song Jinggong move so quickly. "Sir, how can we plant things over there?" This student is following Zhuangzi's instructions to build houses and docks over there. Zhuangzi took out 1,000 taels of silver for this student to use. "Sir, look, there is a lot of soil and rocks on the mountain. It will save us a lot of money to build the docks and houses. At this time, there is a drought and the little Luoshui River has dried up. It will be more convenient for construction. We can find people to dig deeper and widen the river. The extra soil will be used on the river embankment. When the drought is over and the rainy season comes, the river will be wider and the water will be deeper. Some big boats will be able to sail in. The houses at the docks can be rented out as warehouses. The flat land at the foot of the mountain can be built into restaurants and other shops. We can also build the mountain road and build a few pavilions on the mountain. When the time comes, there will be transportation, and there will be another place to drink and have fun. Looking at the boats coming and going from the top to the bottom of the river will give us a special feeling. Also, when the time comes, Zhuangzi will continue to fork out money to dig a smaller artificial lake over there. We can build rockery and pavilions in it to attract the water from the little Luoshui River. Boats can be used to travel between the lake and the river. At that time, the people on the mountain can personally come down and paddle the boats. Sir, what do you think of this?" Song Jinggong did not hide anything at this time. He told County Magistrate Zhuangzi's arrangements. County Magistrate Chung listened. At first, there was a smile on his face. When he heard the last part, the smile disappeared and was replaced by shock and annoyance. He was stunned and did not move. Song Jinggong had finished speaking, but he did not say anything. "Sir, there is one more thing that I need your help with." Song Jinggong saw that County Magistrate Chung was stunned and had to raise his voice. "Ah, something else? What else? Don't tell me you want to buy the land on this side of the river too? That won't do. This side of the river is a grain field. We need to grow crops. There's only half a mu of land between the river and here. We can't make a dock. County Magistrate Chung had the same idea just now. Later, he found that if he wanted to do the same, he would have to occupy the land. Then, someone would accuse him of not doing agriculture, but only doing business. Destroying the land to open the trade route was a big sin. He thought that Song Jinggong would be so generous. Sir, don't worry. Zhuangzi will not do such a thing. It's just that I see that the small bridge between the two sides of the river has been in disrepair for a long time. I want to spend money to repair it. I want to build a wider and stronger bridge for the convenience of pedestrians, Song Jinggong explained. Repair the bridge? For the convenience of pedestrians? Don't tell me you want to transport the goods from the other side of the river here. It's really convenient to repair the bridge. County Magistrate Chung immediately understood the key point. If the dock was placed on the other side, the goods would have to be transported over. Zhang Zhuangzi really did not want to suffer any losses. Sir, you are wise, Song Jinggong said with a smile. Chapter 112. Since he had bought the land, Song Jinggong did not waste any time. He immediately called for people to work on the other side of the river. They were all people who did not own farmland. The spring plowing was not over yet, and those who had land were busy. After Song Jinggong left, County Magistrate Chung took the things back to the yamen with his men. As soon as he got back, he went to the study and looked outside through the gap of the open window. As he looked, because of the sunlight, his eyes were tired and all he could see was the warm colors. Sir, there is another document from the next village. County Magistrate Chung was in a daze for half an hour when the Deputy District Magistrate came from the front with a piece of paper in his hand. Xu Yang is here. Xu Yang, why didn't we think of expanding the little Luo Shui while it's still dry? We can use the mud and stones on the mountain to build houses. When the time comes, the water will flow to the boats. 1,500 taels of silver to buy such a big piece of land. How much do you think it will cost to rent the warehouse a day? How much do you think you can earn by running the restaurant? How much do you think you can earn by renting it to others? How much do you think it will cost to buy goods at the docks and resell them? How much do you charge for stopping the boats? How much do you pay the workers at the docks a day? County Magistrate Chung did not take the document from the Deputy District Magistrate Zhang Mingsheng. Instead, he looked out of the window and asked. The Deputy District Magistrate also went with him today. He knew what the County Magistrate was thinking. If they built the docks there and operated according to Master Song's plan, they would be able to earn a lot of money. Because of the drought, the construction was faster and smoother, and they could save a lot of money. They could use the local materials and save a lot of money. They might not even be able to spend 1,000 taels of silver. Everything would be solved. He had thought about this before. When Zhang Zhuangzi wanted to buy the land, countless people were waiting to watch the show. He also thought that he was losing money and was grateful to him. Now that he owed him a favor and the money was earned by him, he thought that Zhang Zhuangzi was making use of the drought to turn a poor place into a source of income. Sir, I also don't know how much Zhang Zhuangzi can earn. The more prosperous this place is, the more they can earn. There is a mountain of gold in front of us, but we can't see it. We can't take it back, right? The Deputy District Magistrate knew that the County Magistrate was unhappy and was afraid that the County Magistrate would tear up the land deed and the document. Take it back? How would he dare? Even if he gave it away to another place, he wouldn't be able to take it back. This was good too. After all, doing business required paying taxes. During the summer, some laborers had nothing to do, so they went to help out at the docks. This way, they could earn more. When the ships came in, they could save on the transportation fees. This river was connected to the Jingshui River, and from the Jingshui River, they could enter the Weishui River. It extended in all directions and was convenient to go anywhere. If this money was earned by someone else, I would feel heartache. But to give it to Zhang Zhuangzi, that is because he is capable. After all, He has taken out 1,500 taels of silver. Do you think there are other places in Sanshui County that can earn a lot of money? It's just that no one noticed. Of course, County Magistrate Chung did not dare to go back on his words. Not to mention that he still wanted to be apprenticed to a master. Even if there were no masters among the ordinary Zhuangzi there, he did not dare to deal with them easily. In the Yamen, from the cleaners to the Yamen runners, Zhangji Zhuangzi had given a lot of benefits. Everyone knew that once he made a decision, the people he sent out would definitely report to Zhangji Zhuangzi first. The deputy district magistrate also knew this and agreed. You are right. There is a docks there. In the future, when you are promoted, the people here can still get benefits. As long as you don't go too far away, you can come back by boat. You can also see the distance and enjoy the music on the boat. If Zhangji Zhuangzi produces any good things, he can also get a boat to bring them to you. At this time, we should focus on the drought. In summer or autumn, you can help Zhangji Zhuangzi to deliver the grain. Then, it won't be too late to ask. Even if you don't need it, the new district magistrate who replaces you can use it. Didn't we decide to send people to see if they are willing to do a good job? Otherwise, the deputy district magistrate did not finish his words. County Magistrate Chung also understood that he had enough benefits and left some for the next district magistrate. He was prepared to promote the next district magistrate. If the higher-ups did not promote him and insisted on sending someone, it would depend on whether that person was willing to do things for Sanshui County and whether he was obedient. Otherwise, if an outsider wanted to establish himself in Sanshui County, it would be a dream. Once the words were said, both of them were relieved. County Magistrate Chung took the document and looked at it. It was a request for the district magistrate to get something to dig a well. This was simple, so he signed it and stamped it. Just as he sent someone to arrange this matter, Song Jinggong rushed over again. The matter over there was going to be a preliminary arrangement. He found 2 people to lead the digging. He still had other things to discuss with the county magistrate. This time, he was here to deliver benefits. Zijin, you are here? How are things going over there? With the docks and the place over there, Sanshui County will have a better life in the future. Don't forget to thank the people on Zhuangzi on behalf of this district when you go back. County Magistrate Chung greeted him and asked someone to serve tea. Song Jinggong sat down and paused for a moment. He said, Sir, they have started working. I am here to ask for your help. Are you in trouble? Tell me. County Magistrate Chung really did not understand why Song Jinggong wanted to find him. Thank you, sir. It is indeed a little difficult. We don't have enough manpower. Do you know which places in this district are so dry that they don't need so much labor? I am willing to pay to hire people. If there are women in the family who can support the house, you can also find them to help cook some food. Song Jinggong chose 2 kinds of people. This way, according to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, was to repay the society. In the future, there would be other things to do like this. County Magistrate Chung looked at Song Jinggong. After a while he said, This is not a problem. It is obviously to solve my problems. The more problems like this, the better. I will find someone to verify it immediately. When the time comes, I will send people to work for you. With more income, they will feel better. Sir, you really love the people. When the mountain and some scenic places are finished, you can find something for the people in Sanshui County to do. Song Jinggong continued. What else? Do you want people to carry the poles up the mountain? That is fine. This was the only thing that County Magistrate Chung could think of. There were all kinds of places at the bottom of some mountains. There was no distinction between high and low. It was mainly for enjoyment. Song Jinggong shook his head. Sir, this is just a normal thing. What I want to say is to let some people in the county who know embroidery to embroider some things. When the time comes, some traveling scholars will write poems. These poems will be embroidered on a big handkerchief and be sold at the restaurant in Zhangji Zhuangzi. The people there will also be sold here. They will be sold here for 5 days first and then be sold. In this way, the people who come here to play will have to go to Zhangji Zhuangzi to see their poems. First, they want to see how much their works are worth. Second, they want to hear other people's comments. Good idea. Let the people of one place go to play in two places and bring their friends. Both sides can make a lot of money. At the same time, people in the county who rely on this can also earn a lot of money. But if someone writes a poem that is not good, can we wait for him to buy it himself? Hearing Song Jingong's idea, County Magistrate Chung was so excited that he trembled. This business was calculated well. The two sides were so far away, but they could cooperate with each other. Not only could it let Zhangjia Zhuangzi earn a lot of money, but it could also help the people in the county to earn more money. If all the businessmen in the world could do this, how good would it be? Sir, you don't have to worry about the situation where no one wants to buy it. If no one wants to buy it, Zhuangzi will arrange for people to buy it. It is nothing more than paying the people in the county more money to make it. When the time comes, we will write down the names and addresses of the people who wrote the poems. During festivals, we will embroider it and send it over with a gift. Zhuangzi will specially find a place to put the things that are bought. Whether he comes to see it himself or becomes famous in the future, it will be a kind of income. Zhuangzi also said that the route from here to Zhuangzi will be fixed. The people who come to visit here will only take one road. Every once in a while, there will be a pavilion built for people to rest. Next to the pavilion, people who don't have a good life in the county can set up a stall. They can either sell tea or wine. It will also be more work. The pavilion will be built by the county. Seeing that the county magistrate was so happy, Song Jingong directly told him his future plans. He believed that County Magistrate Chung would be able to use them in the future. If he left, he would have to see how the next county magistrate would be. If he did not treat Zhangjia Zhuangzi well, he would definitely not give him this political achievement. County Magistrate Chung could not say anything else. He could only nod and agree. When Song Jingong left, he personally went to the gate of the yamen and walked in. He stood there and watched Song Jingong's figure become smaller and smaller. When he could not see him anymore, he turned around and went back. As soon as he came back, he hurriedly found the deputy county magistrate and asked him to think of a way to save some money. He did not want to use it all at once, so that he could use it for other purposes in the future. After thinking about it, he called the chief secretary, Zhao Xiang, and told him these things. The next county magistrate was going to promote the chief secretary. If he did not tell him and waited until Song Jingong came, County Magistrate Chung felt that he would misunderstand. When the chief secretary, Zhao Xiang, saw County Magistrate Chung, his face was stiff. After hearing County Magistrate Cheng's words, he was also moved. If he did these things when he became the county magistrate, it would only take a year for Sanshui County's finance to double. At that time, he would also be promoted. It would be time for Sanshui County to elect a new county magistrate. The deputy county magistrate, Zhang Mingsheng, was also listening to them. He also thought that he would have a chance at that time. He was happy, but suddenly he became depressed and said, "At that time, Sanshui County will become a popular place. I guess many people will want to be the county magistrate here. What should I do? Xuyang, you can't just wait. Once Sanshui County becomes rich, it will not be as simple as just two auspicious signs like mine. At that time, you can ask them. Maybe there will be a new way." County Magistrate Chung pointed in the direction of Zhangjia Zhuangzi. Chapter 113. As the sun set, the sky and water were dyed red, and the wild geese were singing in the afterglow. The wild geese were singing in harmony with the wind. The geese were calling home geese, and the kind mothers were calling their children softly. The evening was shrouded in smoke. After summer, there was still a month of work to be done in the field. The weather was getting hotter and hotter. At night, some people who couldn't sleep would go outside to look at the night sky and the stars. Of course, the farmers, who were tired from a day's work, would not waste their time like this. Only some of the farmers had the leisure to do so. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan ate steamed buns stuffed with chives for dinner. After drinking some spinach soup, they were full. They lay on the couch and soon fell asleep. When they were woken up by Pomegranate about 4 hours later, they found that there were still people outside who couldn't sleep and were wandering around. Xiaobao, everyone's energy is too exuberant. Find something for them to do. Now that they can't sleep at night, when the weather is at its hottest, won't they have to stay awake for the entire night? It will delay their work the next day. Wang Wan sat in front of the desk and was ready to study. She saw the light at the back window changing. It should be because the torches in the yard were blocked by people and then left. No entertainment will work. If you ask them to play mahjong, they will probably play all night. This means that there is less work during the day. The main thing is that there are more people in the yard. If we divide the work, there won't be much work left. Since they can't sleep, let's study. Zhang Xiaobao spread the paper and opened the book. He thought of a knowledge he learned from his father and began to review. He admired the energy of these servants. While grinding the ink, he said to Wang Wan, "You can find some things to do during the day. Let's go up the mountain to pick wild vegetables. If there is fern, let's see if we can find monk's head. It's a 4-color flower. Its scientific name is platycodon. Pick more and pickle it with salt when we come back. Seal the jar and dry it. We can eat it in winter when there is no food." Okay, let's do that. It seems that we need to find more work for them in the future. If they are tired, they can sleep at night. Wang Wan thought it was a good idea. Those who were still wandering outside didn't know that the young master and young lady had found something fun for them. Early the next morning, most of the people in the 2 main families' courtyards took their food and drinks for the day and walked up the mountain. The task had been arranged. As long as it was something edible, they had to pick it back. In groups of 2 or 3, they had to be careful of snakes and insects. When the children who were originally playing in Zhuangzi saw that so many people had been mobilized, they thought that something big had happened and went forward to ask. When they learned that it was to pick mountain vegetables, they gathered together and discussed it. They also went up the mountain to pick. They didn't dare to go too far, so they looked for it nearby. They ate and played while picking, so they didn't feel tired. When night fell, the children first delivered the things to the main family. Although they were small, their speed of picking mountain vegetables was not slower than the adults. A group of children actually got 2 big sacks of mountain vegetables and put them outside the main family's courtyard, waiting for the people inside to come out and pick them up. The people in the courtyard should go out to work, so there was no need to give extra pay. The children had been busy the whole day, so of course, they couldn't take it for free. The housekeeper took out some salted duck eggs and gave each child 2. The children were satisfied with something, and 2 salted duck eggs were not a small amount. If they ate sparingly, they could eat for 5 or 6 days. They put the duck eggs in their pockets and left happily. The people in the courtyard came back later. They didn't know how far they had walked, but they were all listless. The dozens of sacks weighed more than 3,000 catties. If they were to use salt to pickle them, they would need to use a lot of salt, which was naturally impossible. They had to pick some good ones and use salt water to brine them. The others were taken to a cool place to dry and hung in a ventilated place. They could be stored for a long time. Those people hurriedly ate dinner and were about to go to bed. At this time, they were instructed to learn to read. The 3 special class maids in the courtyard were responsible for teaching them. After learning for 2 hours, these people finally couldn't stand it anymore. They went back to their rooms one by one and fell asleep. This night, no one was energetic enough to sleep. How is it? This method is good, right? We have gained a lot of things and solved other people's insomnia problem. When they were learning in the evening, Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan, "Good, but what about the mountain vegetables in 2 days? What do you want them to do? They can't go to the mountain to chop wood, right? You have to arrange something for them that they can do for a long time. Except for some festivals and during the farming season, they can help. Usually, they don't seem to do much work." Wang Wan found that since she found more people to work in the courtyard, there was less work to do. She and Zhang Xiaobao helped to plan most of the work. Efficiency increased, and there was a surplus of manpower. She wasn't stupid enough to let the people in the courtyard live a life of 9 to 5 in the morning and a life of nightlife. Zhang Xiaobao also didn't want to see so many people idle. It was easy to form a kind of lazy mentality. If they were idle, they could do something by themselves. It showed that they had a yearning for life. But if they were idle and didn't know what to do, it would be troublesome. They must have a goal, even if it was passive, and blindly follow the goal. When he heard Wang Wan ask him to think of a long-term method, he thought for a while and shook his head. No, we can't imprison them with a long-term job. We must let them feel the freshness of the work at all times. Pomegranate, xiaohong, and cherries are exceptions. They have already regarded that job as an honor. They love it from the bottom of their hearts. If we change them, they will think that we are denying them. Let these people pick mountain vegetables for 2 days. When the time comes, they will pick lotus flowers. County Magistrate Chung found so many lotus flowers and put them in the pond, right? Let them do that first. After 2 days, let them raise prawns and crabs. Don't let them be too familiar with it. After a few days, they will change to other things. The others will change with them. The disadvantage of this is that the animals we raise will not have a high output and will die easily. The advantage is that when they meet something they are not familiar with, if they want to satisfy the master, they have to learn. They learn from the people who did this before. Those people also have to learn from them. I know. In the process of teaching others, there will be a kind of spiritual reward. It strengthens the communication between them. At the same time, it will force them to treat everything seriously. Otherwise, when others ask them, they will not be able to answer. If others say it out loud, it will be embarrassing. After hearing Zhang Xiaobao's words, Wang Wan also understood. They were using their money to train people. When a person developed the habit of working seriously, they would keep it in other jobs. In order to be able to teach others better, they could only learn hard, think seriously, and sum up some experience. The two of them wrote a few more lines. Wang Wan spoke again. In fact, we won't lose much money. The so-called loss refers to the difference between the expected output and the actual output. The transplanted lotus flowers don't cost money. There is a ready-made pond. We can get the prawn and crab seedlings from those who sell prawns and crabs. I think it's okay. In addition to these things, some of the vegetables in the backyard should be able to be grafted. The same goes for the fruit trees. There will always be new things waiting for them. Continue writing. We will go to sleep after a while. Unknowingly, the Dragon Boat Festival was coming. The spring plowing had finished a few days ago. They took care of it a little and waited for the harvest. The first batch of wheat had been harvested. The second batch would be later. At the same time, the construction of the restaurant in Zhuangzi had been completed. The supply of MSG to the 3 restaurants in the county had always been the same. They were preparing to use it on their own businesses. Of course, these businesses were not under the name of the Zhang family and the Wang family. Zhang family and the Wang family had always been pure farmers. The ancestors of the Zhang family had made some contributions, so they could be considered as the descendants of good and loyal people. As for the business, it had nothing to do with the Zhang family. Outsiders were outsiders. They occupied the land of the Zhang family and the Wang family. Even the mountain in Little Luoshe was bought by the head of the Zhang family and sublet. What the sublet did was unknown. The project in Little Luoshe was not completed yet. The river had to be dug, the dikes had to be repaired, the houses had to be built according to the specifications, and the wharf had to be built. These projects were carried out at the same time, which solved the problem of idle labor in the county. The paths and pavilions on the mountain, as well as the artificial lake below, had to wait until other things were done. On the day of the Dragon Boat Festival, those who picked wormwood and other medicinal herbs also took advantage of this time to pick everything that could be picked. Zhang family and the Wang family also bought a lot of things in Zhuangzi this time. It was Zhang Xiaobao who paid for these things to be hoarded. After a while, when the medicinal herb shop was almost used up, they would be sold together. On the Dragon Boat Festival, Zhang family and the Wang family began to distribute zongzi to the villagers in Zhuangzi. The restaurant also opened on the same day. Strings of firecrackers rang out as if they were free. County Magistrate Cheng brought some people from the Yamen to congratulate them. Zhou Qiong did not lie. He also invited people from the province to eat and drink here for free. Song Jinggong's reputation spread far and wide, so he attracted many literary friends to come here to support him. These people knew about it 2 days ago. Every one of them took advantage of the time and worked hard at home to write poems, waiting to show off when they arrived. Tuqiao village was such a remote place, but because of the opening of the restaurant, it became very lively. This made the villagers of the three Zhuangzi happy together. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could not participate, let alone stand at the door to welcome the guests. The adults in the family had all gone, leaving only the two of them to play in the courtyard. Xiaobao, do you think there are any zongzi that children can eat? Just like us. Wang Wan looked at other people steaming or boiling zongzi. She was a little hungry, but she was worried that it would not be easy to digest, so she asked Zhang Xiaobao out of boredom. There should be, right? I don't want sticky rice. I'll just use ordinary rice with some minced meat in it. Then I'll wrap it up and steam it in a pot. When the time comes, it will be ready to eat. Zhang Xiaobao analyzed. Don't say any more. How can that still be called a zongzi? If that Zhou Qiong comes to ask about it later, we have to answer him correctly. Wang Wan lay on the chair, closed her eyes, and fell asleep. Chapter 114. Zhou Qiong, County Magistrate Cheng, and the others left in a hurry after lunch. Only Song Jinggong and the people he brought were still eating and drinking in the restaurant. It seemed that they were going to stay up all night. Those who couldn't hold their liquor had already fallen asleep after drinking too much, but they didn't leave. They were waiting for the night to wake up so that they could continue fighting. Zhang Xiaobao didn't expect Zhou Qiong and County Magistrate Cheng to bring much income to the restaurant. Usually, they would stay in the province for a few days, so it was impossible for them to come here for a drink. It was the same for County Magistrate Cheng. Going back and forth would take up almost an entire day. It wasn't worth it just to have a meal. The purpose of asking them to come here was to wait for the construction at Little Luoshe to be completed. After that, they would connect with this place and let those who were envious of the benefits know that these two places were under the protection of the county magistrate and an army officer. When the time came, they would weigh their weight. Those who weren't qualified shouldn't come forward. Those who were qualified should be dealt with separately. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had been waiting for Zhou Qiong to come over and ask him questions. In the end, he left after eating and seemed to have forgotten that there was an expert here. This made the two of them feel much more relaxed. The Dragon Boat Festival passed by in a lively manner. This year, other than Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Zhuangzi giving out zongzi to the villagers, the Ji Zhuangzi also learned from them and gave out some. This year, the Jis didn't have to hand in grain to the imperial court, but the villagers had to hand in grain to the main family, so there would be a lot left over. Moreover, the restaurant had opened, and the three families were operating together. They couldn't continue to be stingy. After the zongzi were given out, the villagers of the Gu family puffed out their chests. When they met the villagers of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang again, they had something to say. County Magistrate Cheng, who came to support them, hurried back to the Yamen and rested for a while. Seeing that it was already late, he called Deputy County Magistrate Zhang Mingsheng over and prepared a few dishes and a small jar of wine. Under the cover of the night, they began to discuss matters. Xuyang, how many days has it been? There hasn't been a single drop of rain. Let's not talk about the reduction in grain production. There are so many people and livestock that are running out of water. If we don't think of a solution soon, people will die of thirst. County Magistrate Cheng poured a bowl of wine for the Deputy County Magistrate and sighed. The deputy district magistrate held the bowl with both hands and waited for the district magistrate to finish pouring. He placed the bowl gently in front of him and said worriedly, 6 days ago, there was some rain at the east of the district. It stopped in less than 2 hours, and the ground was not wet. Now there are many places in the district where the ground is cracked and we can't get much water from the wells. County Magistrate Chung was also aware of this situation. He reached out his chopsticks and was about to pick up some food when he stopped. He drank a big mouthful of wine and exhaled. There's less water in the well. What if we dig deeper? Is it possible to dig out water? Yes, but the well is not like when it was dug. If we want to go down directly, other than some big wells, the other wells will not work. If we want to dig deeper, we have to dig all of them. My lord, it would be great if the well could be like the auspicious well where water comes out with a bang. Now, that well is still supplying water to many people. The deputy county magistrate drank a mouthful of wine with him and followed the county magistrate's words. As he spoke, a glimmer of hope appeared on his originally troubled face. Both he and the county magistrate knew how the auspicious sign appeared. The Zhang family's farmstead had used this to make an exchange with someone in the state. As a result, the well had been filled with water after a rumbling sound. Even now, the water had not decreased. When County Magistrate Chung heard this, his eyes lit up. That's right, what can Zhang Jizhuangzi do? Why didn't he think of asking them for help? Since one well could produce water, there should be more wells. Xuyang, you have done a meritorious service. If this matter can be solved, the people of Sanshui County will thank you. Quickly, call Chun Dong and ask him to come to Zhang Jizhuangzi immediately. Ask him to come here even if he has to beg. It concerns the lives of so many people. If it really doesn't work, I will go there and kneel for a long time to get the water out. County Magistrate Chung had made up his mind. He didn't know how the people of Zhangjiai Zhuangzi got the water out of the well. Perhaps they borrowed some magical power, which might also affect their lifespan. However, he had no other choice. He would ask when the time came. If it really reduced his lifespan by too much, he could only think of other ways. After all, it was not just one well. If his lifespan was reduced by a few days, he would build a longevity shrine in the county and tell the people in the county who worked so hard to get water for them at this time. He would also need to send a document to the higher-ups. He had to get the water out first, and then send a document. Chun Dong happened to be on duty tonight. He came as soon as he heard the call. After the county magistrate finished speaking, he promised, "Sir, don't worry. I will rush there as fast as I can and let them know about this. I believe that Zhang Jizhuangzi won't just stand by and do nothing. Go quickly. If they fall asleep and can't be woken up, just wait. When dawn comes, the restaurant over there will open. You can go there and wait. Maybe you can eat some dishes and drink some wine." County Magistrate Chung told Chendong not to delay things and then let him leave. "Come, Xuyang, let's drink together. I really didn't want to eat just now. There is food here. Some people may not even have water to drink." County Magistrate Chung, who was temporarily relieved, regained his spirit and asked his deputy to eat and drink. Chun Dong also knew that this was a serious matter. He took 2 horses from the yamen and didn't stop at all. He changed horses all the way and arrived at Zhangjie Zhuangzi in 3 hours. Seeing that the restaurant was still brightly lit, Chun Dong licked his lips. He really wanted to go in and drink a bowl of wine. At the same time, he also knew that they wouldn't take his money. Even if he gave it to them, they wouldn't accept it. But there was something more important. He endured the thirst in his mouth and came to the courtyard of the Zhang family. He knocked on the door twice. The night watchman opened the small door and saw that the yamen runner had arrived. The county magistrate had just left at noon. Could it be that he got lost on his way back and the yamen runner couldn't wait for him and came to ask? This was not something he could handle. He ran to the back and woke up the housekeeper. Steward Zhang had just fallen asleep. Others could sleep earlier, but he couldn't. He was in charge of many things. He got up reluctantly and walked to the living room. The Yamen runner, Dong, was already waiting there. The tea was served and he drank 2 bowls of it. Then he told the purpose of his visit and waited for Steward Zhang's reply. At least he had to ask the expert. Steward Zhang estimated the time and said to Dong, "Wait here for a moment. I'll go and ask. Whether it's successful or not, I'll come back and tell you." After that, Steward Zhang left the living room and walked to the courtyard of the little child. He knew that the little child and his wife just happened to wake up at this time to study. Otherwise, he would have to ask the Yamen runner to come back tomorrow morning. When Steward Zhang arrived, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were eating. Children grew up quickly and became hungry quickly. They took time to eat something. After Steward Zhang repeated the matter, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other and reached an agreement. They said to Steward Zhang, "You go and tell the Yamen runner to draw a map of the wells that need water and send it here. Don't worry about anything else. Also, tell him that there may not be so much water coming out of every well. Also, this kind of thing will shorten one's life. This is the only time." Steward Zhang took the order and left. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other again and sighed at the same time. This time, they had to do a lot of things. It had to be said that it was life-threatening. Otherwise, if the higher-ups asked them to blow up the other 2 big places and their surroundings one by one, they couldn't stand it. "Xiaobao, how about artificial rain? Recently, there are always clouds floating above, but it doesn't rain. I'll try to make some clay bombs. What do you think?" Wang Wan suggested. "Okay, when the time comes, you can blow me up. I'll have a bucket of water in each hand and pour it wherever I want. Even if you can make clay bombs and the launching tools are simple, I can't make dry ice." Zhang Xiaobao said and reached out to touch Wang Wan's forehead to see if she had a fever. "Don't touch me, I'm just saying. People need to have some hope and work hard with that hope. I believe that you will be able to create dry ice in your lifetime, or even liquid nitrogen." Wang Wan slapped his hand away. "Dry ice? Do you believe that if you push me too hard, I will become a dry corpse tomorrow? Eat quickly, it will be cold soon. This is fungus soup, it's expensive." Zhang Xiaobao knew that Wang Wan was just saying it casually to ease the atmosphere. Anyone would know that artificial rain was impossible at this time. After drinking the soup and eating something, Wang Wan said, "How should we arrange it? We can't let others find out this secret. We can only blow it up when others are not paying attention. Then it will be nighttime. We have to arrange a few people. Erniu is one, and his brother Daniu is another. Who else can be absolutely reliable? Huzi is also fine. I don't know about others. Just the 3 of them. We have to spend a lot of money to buy materials, and we can't ask for reimbursement from County Magistrate Chung. This matter is settled. Read the book." Zhang Xiaobao didn't have a good candidate at the moment, so he could only trouble the 3 of them. Steward Zhang told Dong what the young master said. Dong was happy when he heard it. He got up and wanted to go back to tell the good news to the county magistrate, but he was stopped by Steward Zhang. He said that if he went back, the county magistrate would be asleep. It would be better to wait until dawn, when the county magistrate would wake up. During this time, he didn't need to live in the yard. He found a night patrol and asked him to take Dong to the restaurant to eat something and have a good rest. Horses also needed to eat and rest. When Dong arrived at the restaurant, he was given 2 dishes, 1 meat and 1 vegetable, as well as 4 side dishes. There was also a small pot of wine and a bowl of rice. Because this was a joint venture between 3 families, they had to keep a separate tab and count it as a special reception fee. Dong was not in the mood to enjoy. He hurriedly finished his meal and went to sleep. The next day, he woke up without being woken up. He didn't even eat breakfast and directly rode back. When he arrived at the Yamen, he didn't care whether the county magistrate was awake or not. He ran inside and shouted, "Sir, it's done. It's done." Chapter 115. Boom! After the first thunderous boom, several more thunderous booms rang out in Linha village of Sanchoe County. At this time, it was 4:00 in the morning. The people in the village were awakened from their sleep, but they thought it was going to rain or thunder. They couldn't bear the sleepiness and went back to sleep. Only some old people who didn't sleep well wanted to see what the rain looked like. They put on their clothes, opened the door, and stood inside the door to look outside. The sky was still dark, and the stars were still twinkling. Apart from the coolness of the night, there was no trace of moisture. Many dogs were barking, but nothing else had changed. Why is there thunder? Why is God striking down these thunderbolts? Sigh. An old man who had already opened the door and was looking outside mumbled a few words and turned to walk back into the house. Old man, is it raining outside? My ears are getting old, and I can't hear anything. An old lady's voice came from the house. No, go to sleep. I wonder what evil thing that wastrel did. God is going to strike him with lightning. As the old man spoke, he moved back to the straw mattress and squatted down with difficulty. He took off the clothes draped over his body and casually rolled them up twice before placing them where the pillow should be. He then pulled over half of the blanket and fell asleep with his back facing the old lady. In the darkness, the old lady blinked her eyes and helped the old man tuck in the blanket around his neck. She lay there with her head up and thought for a while. Then she sighed and waited for the old man's snores to start. Then she also fell asleep. The next morning, the children in Linha village woke up first. They dragged their water barrels to the well to get water. Every day, the water in the wells would be the highest in the morning and the lowest in the evening. It wasn't like this in the past. Usually, the water in the well would rise as they fetched water. If they really wanted to get the water to the bottom, they would need a few adults to take turns to carry the water with willow rollers. It would take more than 2 hours for the water to reach the bottom. After a while, it would slowly rise again. They thought it was the same today. They dragged the heavy wooden buckets and rushed toward the well. Some families had 2 or 3 children. The older ones dragged the buckets, while the younger ones ran to stand at the mouth of the well. This was also considered a position for them. It was no exception now. A group of children were practically running out of the house. The older children had to look after the younger ones and make sure that they did not fall into the well. This was not like a winch. There was always a bucket hanging at the mouth of the well to block it. The well was an open well, so a rope had to be tied to it. There was a hole at the bottom, and there was a tarpaulin covering it. As long as the water fell into the well, the weight of the bucket would cause the water to wash away the tarpaulin. When the bucket was lifted up, the weight of the water would press the tarpaulin to the bottom of the bucket. Some water would leak out, but most of the water would be lifted up. This kind of well usually did not have any safety measures. Some used a wooden board, and some just left the mouth open. If someone fell in, even an adult could not save them, let alone a child. Once they were out of the house, the children would run towards whichever side of the well was closest to their house. When they were about the same distance, they would run towards whichever side had fewer children. A family had 3 children. The 2 older ones were girls, and the younger one was a boy. One of the girls ran towards the well, while the other girl had to look after her younger brother. When she and her younger brother reached the mouth of the well, they saw her younger sister standing there in a daze. "Chow, or what are you doing? Be careful not to fall into the well." As the older sister, she had to take good care of her younger brother and sister. She looked at the straw curtain at the mouth of the well and worriedly asked her younger sister. Chow came first, and the others had not arrived yet. She first looked into the well and vaguely discovered that there was more water inside than a few days ago. It was much higher than a few days ago, and there was a white light in the darkness. She was very certain. When she heard her older sister's question, she quickly said, "Older sister, there's more water. Quickly bring some up to see." As the older sister, she found that there was a different smell in the surroundings, and it was very unpleasant. Seeing that her younger sister was still standing there, she moved closer to look and felt that the water was indeed much higher. It's true. Help me pull the rope. I'll put the willow into sea. As she spoke, the older sister used all her strength to throw the wooden bucket next to the well down. When there was a sound, she immediately pulled it up. Otherwise, when the water was full, she wouldn't be able to pull it up. When the small bucket of water was pulled up, the three siblings looked inside curiously. Oldest sister, second sister, this water is too muddy. After the younger brother looked, he said to his two older sisters, "Let's not worry about it for now. Let's occupy the place and wait for Father to come and fetch the water." The older sister had also seen the water. It was a bit muddy, but it was better than nothing. At this time, the other children arrived one after another. There were two boys in the family who didn't need an adult to come and could directly go and fetch the water. They were bold. Even if they had to be spanked by their parents after getting the water, they were still willing to do more for the family. When they saw that there were already people standing in front of them, they urged them. If they wanted to get the water first, they would usually have to quarrel. Today, the three siblings in front of them were very easy to talk to and gave up their position. These two boys were a pair of twins. They were both 10 years old this year. Since others had stepped aside, they naturally wouldn't be polite. They carried the buckets to the mouth of the well. After estimating the distance, they placed the buckets to the side and threw the still, wet willow into the well. They cocked their ears to listen to the movements inside. When they felt that it was about time and should be half filled with willow water, they pulled the rope together. When they reached the well, they directly put the back of the willow down on the edge of the well. The front of the well was facing their own bucket. When they tilted, the water inside flowed into the wooden bucket. The boys' thoughts were worse than the girls'. They didn't even consider whether the water was muddy or not. After pouring the willow water in, they continued to fetch water. After a few rounds, they finally filled up the wooden bucket they brought with them and dragged it back home. As they dragged on, their parents arrived. They happened to see their two children walking back after fetching water. They approached them in 2 steps. Without saying anything, they directly lifted one of them in front of them. They squatted down, straightened their knees, and pressed the child on top of them. They opened their palms and began to smack the child's buttocks. "What did I tell you? I asked you to occupy a spot, but you took your brother to fetch water. If you fell, how would your mother and I live? I'll beat you to death, you disobedient child." "Dad, I'm the younger brother. Today's water is higher than usual. I fetched more water first. Why are you hitting me?" The child who was hit wailed. It wasn't that he was in pain. Usually, when he fought with the other children in the village, it was more painful than this. The main reason was that he was afraid of being hit by his parents since he was young. The father raised his hand and took it back. He looked at the other son. He had no choice. After so many years, as long as the two children stood together and couldn't see the birthmark on their bodies, he couldn't tell who was the elder and who was the younger one. Especially when the two children usually played together. They were the same and always wore different clothes. The other child saw his father's gaze and took 2 steps back. "Dad, I'm the younger brother. Elder brother, don't hurt me. Elder brother, how can you lie through your teeth? Well, anyway, I've suffered a lot for you. I'll be the elder brother this time." The other child quickly said. The father patted his head with his hand. "Stop talking. You're the elder brother, and I'm the younger brother. Later, you're not allowed to change clothes. Go home and let your mother recognize which one is the elder brother. Prepare yourself." The father really had no choice. He often hit the wrong child, and when he went home, his wife would complain. The child who did something wrong would secretly laugh at the side, and the child who didn't do anything wrong could only cry and feel wronged. He was not as good as his wife. Whether it was listening to the voice or just a casual glance, no matter how the two children changed clothes, even if their faces were smeared with mud, he could still recognize them immediately. He had never missed. "Dad, don't worry. Elder brother and I will never change clothes. Elder brother, This is all your fault." The two children said to their father at the same time. It was not the first time they said this. It was instinctive. The father didn't really want to hit his two sons. He was just worried that the two boys would always go out to do things by themselves. If they were really in danger, he would never forget if one of them was missing. At the same time, he felt that his two sons were sensible and knew how to help the adults draw water. Looking down at the water in the bucket, he found that it was much more turbid than usual. Only then did he remember what his son said just now. The water in the well was higher than usual. Looking at the water again, his eyes suddenly widened. Of course, he knew when such a thing would happen. It was when the well had just been dug, and the water inside would gush out with mud. The water would rise, and it would be equally turbid. A few adults would take turns to draw water out until the bottom was seen and all the mud that could enter the water was removed. Only then would clear water come out. Of course, other than this, when the earth moved, the water in the well would be very turbid. However, the chickens in the village wouldn't jump and the dogs wouldn't bark. It was impossible for the earth to move. Could it be that someone had dug another well? At this time, some adults from other families came over and also discovered this situation. Some of them were quick-witted and thought of the thunder they heard in the morning. They excitedly said, "Auspicious sign, this is auspicious sign. I heard that water came out of a well that had been dry for many years in the county town after a few thunderclaps. Our well also had thunder first, right?" After hearing what he said, the others also thought of it. All of them stopped fetching water and prepared to head to the county city to report it. Before they could leave the village, there were people saying the same thing in other places with wells. Then even a village has auspicious signs. Most of the water in the well had risen, and there were so many thunder sounds. Some smart people directly said that this was a miracle for the village. Chapter 116. After discovering that 7 of the 9 wells in the village were full of water, the people of Linha village were very happy. Now, they didn't have to worry about running out of water. They could even transport the water to the fields to make up for it. The positions occupied by the children were also not important. The 7 wells were full of people. One by one, they took off their shirts, bare-chested, and began to take turns to draw water. The water they drew was directly transported to the fields. As for the remaining 2 wells, one was missing a piece due to years of disrepair, while the other had not changed much. This situation was immediately reported to the county. They wanted to make an auspicious sign or something, but they were persuaded by the sinister county magistrate to keep a secret. "Sir, don't think about this. Take a rest." The county magistrate's face was also ugly, as he advised County Magistrate Chung. The registrar, county deputy, and the bailiffs who knew about this matter also had no smile on their faces. They knew that behind the happiness of the people, someone was using his life to support it. What auspicious sign was this? What water was this? It was clearly tears of blood. They all believed Chundong's words. The masters of Zhangji Zhuangzi, for the sake of the people of Sanshui County, actually used his life as the price to activate the divine power. The county magistrate, county deputy, and registrar were the most conflicted in their hearts. They wanted to let the people in the county have water to drink, but they were also afraid that the 2 masters of Zhangji Zhuangzi had an accident. They couldn't decide between the 2. The bailiffs couldn't care so much. They only hoped that the people of Zhangji Zhuangzi were still alive and well. When they heard that the people of Linha County wanted to make an auspicious sign, they couldn't help but want to beat them a few times. "Well, Xuyang, there are other things today. Help me take a look. I will go to the back to check on some of the previous omissions." County Magistrate Chung was the happiest, but also the saddest. He arranged for people to go to Zhangji Zhuangzi. A village had water, but he had to worry about the masters of Zhangji Zhuangzi. After the county deputy agreed, County Magistrate Chung returned to his courtyard without another word. He dismissed the servants and found incense and candles alone. He brought them to the study room and personally ground an ink stick. He wrote the names of the two of them on a piece of paper and placed it on the table in the study room. He lit the incense and candles and then knelt there. This unfilial student greets the two of you. I wish the two of you a long life. I swear that if any of the 60,000 elders in Shan Shui County dare to disrespect the two of you, even if it means risking my life, I will not let them off easily. After that, County Magistrate Chung kowtowed 3 more times before standing up. In the next few days, not only were the wells in Linha village filled with water, but many of the wells in other villages were filled with water as well. The wells that originally had water had more water, and the wells that didn't have water were filled with water. From time to time, someone would report this to the yamen as an auspicious sign. The more the yamen heard, the more upset they felt. "My lord, why don't we send someone to Zhangjiazhuangzi and ask them to stop for a while and transport some water from other villages to those villages that are suffering from drought? Then, when the people have water, what should we do? This is exchanging lives for lives." A pregnant yamen runner found County Magistrate Chung and knelt there, crying and begging. Of course, he got the news from Chundong. His family had received a lot of benefits from Zhangjiazhuangzi. His wife ate well and slept well. Zhangjiazhuangzi even specially sent a woman to teach his wife some movements. He even taught her a few songs to sing, saying that it was good for the unborn child. If it were someone else, he would think that they were just messing with him. But Zhangjiazhuangzi specially made it, so he didn't dare to have any doubts. How could he not remember this kind of care? At first, he thought that if one day Zhangjiazhuangzi killed someone, he would pretend that he didn't see it. But now, he thought that if Zhangjiazhuangzi wanted to kill someone, he would do it himself. When County Magistrate Chung heard the bailiff's words, he did not know what to do for a moment. Chundong had come back and said that it was only this one time, which meant that the 2 masters of the Zhang family's farmstead would not die because of this one time. However, in the past 2 days, as the wells in some villages had more water and dried up, he felt the bailiff's anxiety. He originally wanted to have a long life, but Zhangjiazhuangzi didn't agree. He didn't know the master's name, and he didn't know what the master looked like, so he could only give up. Looking at the yamen runner kneeling there, County Magistrate Chung suddenly had an idea. He said to him, "How about this? Tomorrow you bring some of the county's products that Zhangjiazhuangzi doesn't have and give them to them. Also, help me ask if they want to stop. If they stop, I will issue a notice and ask the people to get water from other places. But if they say that they don't lack water, I will also issue a notice and ask the people not to go out at night and not to check if they hear any noise. What do you think?" Seeing the yamen runner like this, County Magistrate Chung didn't know what to say, especially the next county magistrate. If the next county magistrate wasn't promoted by Sanshui County, the officials sent by the higher-ups would have a hard time. The people sent by the higher-ups hated the local power the most, but they were also afraid of the local power the most. A capable official could handle the local power in a short time and make everyone listen to him. A weak official could only ask for a transfer or join in the evil. If the next county magistrate wasn't Registrar Zhao, would he have the ability to take in Zhangjiazhuangzi? He would be tired to death. The yamen runner naturally didn't know that the county magistrate was thinking so much. When he heard the county magistrate's words, he left happily and prepared to go to Zhangjiazhuangzi tonight to ask, "Wang Wan, do you think the moon is at its roundest today? Grandpa made mooncakes for me." Zhang Xiaobao was especially energetic tonight. He lay on the couch and couldn't sleep. He looked out of the half-open window and said softly. Wang Wan was already sleepy and wanted to sleep. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, she opened her eyes and said, "Comrade Zhang Xiaobao, I beg you, don't say any more. There are still many days until the 15th of August. I'll make mooncakes with you then, okay?" "Oh, thank you. Actually, it has nothing to do with the 15th of August. Today is my grandpa's birthday. Look at how round the moon is. Grandpa must be looking at me on the moon." Zhang Xiaobao continued. His voice was very soft, but it was enough for Wang Wan to hear. Wang Wan stared at the window and seemed to want to close it with her mind. She turned her head and saw Zhang Xiaobao was still staring at the window. She said, "There's no one on the moon, right?" "Well, don't look at me. There's someone on the moon, but it won't be your grandpa. There's Chang Yi Wu Gang, and a living thing at home, not a rabbit. Which one do you think your grandpa is? Could it be the Apollo of the lunar kicking plan?" "Comrade Wang Wan, let me ask you, why are there so many graves in places with water?" Zhang Xiaobao changed the topic. "Xiaobao, you are a good man. The country is sorry for you. Don't hate the country. After all, these departments are composed of people, not machines. You have learned so much psychology. Don't you understand? I'm here with you. Take it as compensation." Wang Wan knew that Zhang Xiaobao would fall into a special thought when he thought of his grandpa. At the same time, he had made arrangements for the other side. So she said these words gratefully. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. "What qualifications do you have to represent the country? How do you know that I love the country? What I love is a national complex. What I love is a kind of heritage. The Chinese nation is not a certain republic. What I protect is a kind of spirit, not a specific thing." Some people said that the four ancient civilizations were ancient India, ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon, and ancient China. Some people said ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient India, and ancient Egypt. Some people said ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Maya, and ancient India. Some people said ancient Lulan, ancient Egypt, ancient Maya, and ancient Rome. These were not important. What was important was whose civilization was still being passed down. India? Their history needed to be filled in by the history of other countries. Maya? They only had words left, but they had lost the people who could interpret them. Egypt? They had almost lost their own words. They did not know how they originated. Babylon, it was conquered by the pagans. Who still remembered it? Rome? There was no arena. It was long forgotten. Lulan? Time passed. Who chased after time? Only one place still existed. From the records of Yan Huang to the mountains of reeds. The country I recognize is this. I am not proud of the glory of my ancestors. I am sad because I can't inherit it. Who dares to talk about civilization with China? Who dares to talk about food with China? I. Xiaobao, the well exploded. Why did you remind them to use the fortune-telling compass to measure it? Just as Zhang Xiaobao was about to say something radical, Wang Wan suddenly interrupted and asked something unrelated to what Zhang Xiaobao was talking about. Zhang Xiaobao did not answer immediately. He stood there panting. After a while, he smiled at Wang Wan. People say that a good wife can let a man have no worries. I didn't understand before, but now I finally understand. When you are in high spirits, she knows how to pour cold water on you. When you are in low spirits, she knows how to cheer you up. When you are in low spirits, she knows how to... Xiaobao, what is that compass used for? Is it a compass? Wang Wan interrupted Zhang Xiaobao again. Oh, you're talking about that thing? I really don't know much about fortune-telling. I didn't learn anything about fortune-telling back then. There really was a person in there. In the end, he misjudged a department head and was locked up. But I know one thing. That compass corresponds to the water patterns and magnetic fields. Usually, some fortune-tellers would find a compass and put it in a messy place. He thought that it was God's will that he couldn't predict the future. In fact, that place is usually a place with more water patterns. If you don't believe me, you can take a look. As long as you use that thing, you can dig out a coffin in a messy place. The orphanage was like that. They wanted to dig a fixed cellar, but after digging for a while, they found a coffin. At first, they didn't care about it and moved it to another place. You know what a fixed cellar is? It is an underground house built with bricks and cement. It is used as a vegetable cellar. But in the end, they found that it was full of water. The vegetable cellar was 5 meters deep and 5 meters was water. In the end, they couldn't use it. Later, they wanted to make a well, which is a relatively old well, the one that uses leverage and air pressure. It is 3 meters away from the vegetable cellar. In the end, they drilled 12 meters and there was no water at all. Zhang Xiaobao finally recovered from the state he shouldn't be in and started talking about the compass. I know about this. There are some well-preserved ancient corpses. In fact, it is because there is water at the place where they are buried. The coffin itself is sealed well, but the water pressure underground is too high. It presses the water into the coffin and squeezes out the air inside. When the air is gone, the surroundings are sealed again. The water level drops and the water seeps out. The seal is sealed again, and the inside of the coffin becomes a vacuum. When people dig it up, there is no oxidizing effect. The person inside is preserved very well. Wang Wan added. At the same time, she knew why Zhang Xiaobao asked people to use a compass to predict the future when they blew up the well. It wasn't for fortune-telling, but for water patterns. Chapter 117. In Sanshui County, water was flowing out of many wells. Some wells even collapsed, but there was no change in a few wells. The drought was still going on and had not been completely solved. It was just that they did not have to worry about the people dying of thirst due to the lack of water. County Magistrate Chung originally wanted to make a longevity memorial for the two masters on Zhangji Zhuangzi, but he was opposed by Zhuangzi, so he could only keep this matter in mind. There were some good things happening in the county. At the same time, some rich people heard that water was flowing out of many wells. They went to take a look and smelled a familiar smell. They thought it was firecrackers, so they went to buy hundreds of thousands of firecrackers. They found a dry well and threw them into it. In the end, there was only a short burst of sound, and then there was no other reaction. Looking at the smoke floating out of the well, they were sure that firecrackers could not be used to blow up the well. After smelling it again, they felt that it was not the same, so they could only give up. Originally, he wanted to find a way to help people get water out of the well to make money. The dock that Song Jinggong was in charge of was still in full swing. It seemed that it would be finished by late autumn. The weather was getting hotter and hotter. Shannon East Road, Hunan Road, Hadong Road, and Guanyi Road all had varying degrees of drought. Guanyi Road was slightly worse, but Shannon East Road and Hunan Road had the most severe drought. Hadong Road was also affected. Fortunately, there were several main rivers in Hadong Road and Guanyi Road, so they might be able to hold on until the arrival of the rainy season. If there was only drought, there was nothing to be afraid of in Hunan Road. Crop failure was inevitable. However, they were able to use the water from the Yellow River. Since spring, there were more locusts in these two places than in other places. At first, the people did not notice it. There were locusts jumping around every year, so this year was not a big deal. Who knew that with the drought, there would be more and more locusts? Some of the bigger ones even grew to 2 inches long. When they flapped their wings, they flew in front of people like little chicks. Seeing these locusts eating the crops, the people lit incense burners outside the fields and kept kowtowing. But no one said that they were going to chase them away or let their poultry eat them. In the end, the locusts covered the sky and covered the earth. Not only did the people in the prefecture not care, they even reported this matter to their superiors, asking the emperor to issue a decree to build a temple of locusts here. Li Longji clearly knew the danger of these locusts, but he couldn't do anything about it. The other ministers also didn't stop it, except for Yao Chong. He jumped up and down, first promising the emperor that he would take responsibility, then followed the other ministers to threaten him. In the end, he obtained a non-support and non-opposition agreement. He personally went there to check the situation and get rid of those locusts. At this time, Zhangji Zhuangzi in Sanshui County also followed suit. The 10,000 dan of grain was divided into 2 portions. One portion was given to Su Si to stop at the market and quietly transport to Hunan. The other portion was given to Erniu to find a cart to transport it to the county seat. The cart took several li to transport it to the county seat. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were prepared to personally go and take a look. It could be considered a trip for the childhood sweethearts. In the end, they were stopped by the people in their family. Usually, when the two of them did something, the adults didn't care. This time, they wanted to go out, but no matter what, they didn't agree. They were afraid that the two of them would sneak away, so they arranged for 10 people to take turns to watch over them. When County Magistrate Chung heard this news, he understood that it was time for him to take action. He arranged things in the county seat and took half of the bailiffs to prepare to go to those 2 places to provide disaster relief. In fact, it was to deliver grain. Cherries also hatched a lot of chicks and gave them to the farmers to raise. She took more than 6,000 chickens and Xiaohong's ducks and geese and also set off. Some of the idlers in the courtyard also followed to help feed the chickens and pick the eggs. This time, Cherries and Xiaohong only brought enough feed for the poultry to eat for 2 days. Along the way, they had to choose places with grass or places with a lot of grasshoppers. According to the young master's instructions, as long as the eggs were laid, they would exchange them with the local people. They could buy them with money or with cloth and silk. Even if it was a year's worth of grain, they would exchange them. Some children caught various insects to feed the poultry, but they also gave them eggs. Everything depends on Erniu. Whether or not our family can continue to enjoy this kind of treatment depends on Erniu's response. We have a lot of grasshoppers here. Some are hiding in the mountains. Let's fry them and eat them. Call Dinyo back from the county seat and let him try to make a cake. When the time comes, we can exchange the grasshoppers with the children on Zhuangzi. This thing is good. It's high in protein. Make some salt and pepper. After it's fried, we can eat it together. Don't eat the staple food. We can eat grasshoppers every day. I've decided to beat a 5-year-old child when I'm 3 years old. Zhang Xiaobao had been holding back his anger because his family didn't allow him and Wang Wan to go there personally. He waited for others to leave before he started to come up with ideas. Eat it every day. Then you eat it yourself. I won't accompany you. No matter how much protein grasshoppers have, how can they compare to rice and flour? I don't know how you're a liar. Wang Wan also wanted to go out and see what other places in this era were like. In the end, she was locked up at home. She was also depressed. Zhang Xiaobao had no other choice. If he really wanted to run out, it was very easy for him and Wang Wan. However, if he ran away, his family would definitely be worried. It wasn't easy for him to finally have family. He definitely wouldn't do that. Seeing that Wang Wan didn't want to accompany them to eat grasshoppers, he found a compromise. Then how about we use flour to wrap grasshoppers and fry them? What do you think? So you're competing with a grasshopper? Why don't we let them catch more and bake them into powder? We can make some pastries for the children in the village to eat to replenish their nutrition. When we grow up, they can become the most loyal guards. When we expand the territory, when we open up the wasteland, the strength of the seedling protection team will be stronger. Wang Wan heard about 4 deaths in the past few months. She felt a little distressed. There was a Zhuangzi in the Gu family. He was 6 years old, but he died of an illness. Life was really too fragile. At that time, the courtyard sent all the resident doctors and used a tail of ginseng, but it only delayed his life by a few days. In addition to the medical reasons, there was also the children's daily nutrition problems. Healthy children had a stronger resistance to diseases. Usually, it was enough to see some children play and exercise, but the intake of protein was less. People nowadays didn't eat grasshoppers unless they were hungry. If it was in the past, grasshoppers would be a good thing. Zhang Xiaobao also knew what Wang Wan was thinking. He thought for a while and said, "It's useless to just eat grasshoppers. When this matter is settled, we can build a school and find some students who failed to pass the exam to teach the children. At that time, 3 meals a day will be prepared. Naturally, the children will be healthier. As for the grasshopper powder, why don't we add our monosodium glutamate and send it to some pancake shops as seasoning? The taste will definitely be different from pancakes or other noodles. We can also add some fish powder. Forget about monosodium glutamate. We can just add something else. Providing raw materials is the least cost-effective. It's better to sell it in our own shop in Sanchue County. It's not a big deal, we can just arrange it casually. It seems that before they come back, the two of us will have some free time. Let's think about how to help your father pass the exam. Okay, starting tomorrow, we will find my father to go outside and enjoy the scenery. You have to cooperate. I'm not very familiar with poetry. You have been exposed to a lot of training when you were young, so I will rely on you in this aspect. Zhang Xiaobao wanted his father to take the county entrance examination. He could hint some political and economic ideas, but not poetry. Okay, tomorrow morning, we will go out and learn something with your father. We will hint at him then. Wang Wan promised. County Magistrate Cheng Lingxiang set off that night when Erniu came with so many carriages. He had been paying attention to the disasters in those two places recently. He knew that if he went there now, he would definitely be recognized and his grade would be raised. With such a large group, it would take at least half a month to travel from Sanchue County to those two places. On the other side, Cherries and Xiaohong were also urging the group to move faster. The chickens, ducks, and geese were not very obedient, especially when they encountered water. The ducks and geese always wanted to go in and play. Fortunately, Xiaohong had a smart goose furry. It could understand whatever Xiaohong asked it to do. It was busy, leading nearly 10,000 birds to eat as they moved. The people from the inner courtyard who followed them were also busy. They had to watch the left, right, and back of the group. Otherwise, it would be easy to lose a few birds. This was all money. When they encountered the fields on both sides of the road, as long as there were grasshoppers, Xiaohong and Cherries would lead the birds to eat. With the meat, the birds naturally did not want the grains. They lowered their heads and ran around. As they ran, they could eat all kinds of insects that were chased over. Even if the locusts were flying a little lower, the chickens would jump up and eat them. Half a month later, County Magistrate Cheng's group arrived first. It could not be said that they had all arrived, as the carriages transporting grain were still behind. County Magistrate Cheng was preparing to contact the Prime Minister first, which was Prime Minister Yao Yu. He had already received the news that Prime Minister Yu had also come out of the capital and would be here soon. He was just in time to meet him. The only thing he was worried about was whether the grain would be transported in time. Xiaohong and Cherries were also a little anxious. They were moving slower. The people were fine, but the birds were not very obedient. They always ran to a distant place to take a look, and then continued to move forward with the group. They were already not slow, but they still had to walk for more than 10 days. They did not know if they would be able to see Prime Minister Yu by then. Xiaohong, you lead the group slowly. I have to hurry. Otherwise, when we reach the place and they leave, we will not be able to go back and explain to the young master. At least, we have to let that person with the surname Yao know that we have put in a lot of effort this time. As they walked, Cherries was anxious and discussed with Xiaohong. Today was the 3rd watch, tomorrow was the 7th watch. You're tuning in to the Echo Reads YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.